Emotions shape every part of your life. They influence the decisions you make, the way you respond to challenges, and the quality of your relationships. Yet many people go through life reacting to emotions without fully understanding them. Learning how to recognize, manage, and use your emotions effectively can transform the way you live, work, and connect with others. This audiobook, 6 Steps to Improve Your Emotional Intelligence, is designed to give you practical tools to take control of your emotional world. You will discover how to understand your feelings, manage impulses, respond thoughtfully instead of reacting, and communicate more clearly. You will learn how to read the emotions of others, strengthen empathy, and build deeper, more meaningful relationships. Every chapter provides simple, actionable steps you can apply in your daily life immediately, guiding you to become more aware, calm, and resilient. By the end of this audiobook, you will have a clear roadmap to increase your self-awareness, boost your emotional control, and handle stress and challenges with confidence. You will understand how small, consistent habits can lead to bigger changes, and how paying attention to your emotions can unlock personal growth and success in every area of life. If you want to take charge of your feelings, strengthen your relationships, and create a life where you feel more in control and at peace, this audiobook will show you exactly how. Keep listening, because each step you take will bring you closer to mastering your emotions and building a stronger, more balanced version of yourself. Chapter 1 Scene: Recognize your emotions to understand yourself deeply every day. Emotions are not just fleeting sensations, they are the compass that guides every thought, decision, and action we take in life. Recognizing your emotions is the first and most critical step toward mastering yourself and living intentionally. To truly understand yourself, you must start by identifying what you feel, why you feel it, and how those feelings influence your behavior. This process is not passive. It requires discipline, honesty, and a willingness to face both the comforting and uncomfortable truths within yourself. Emotions often appear without warning, and they can feel overwhelming, confusing, or even contradictory. Learning to recognize them is the foundation of emotional intelligence and the key to creating meaningful change in every area of your life. Recognizing emotions begins with awareness. Awareness is the practice of paying attention to your inner state without judgment. It involves observing your thoughts, sensations, and reactions as they occur. When you start your day, pause for a moment and ask yourself what you are feeling. Are you anxious, excited, calm, irritated, or uncertain? Naming your emotions is a powerful tool. When you can accurately identify what you feel, you gain clarity over your internal world. This clarity allows you to respond to situations thoughtfully rather than being driven by unconscious reactions. Most people go through life operating on autopilot, allowing moods and emotions to dictate actions without conscious consideration. Awareness interrupts this automatic response and places you in the driver's seat of your life. A practical method to begin recognizing emotions is to create a daily emotional check-in. Set aside a few minutes each morning and evening to sit quietly and reflect on your emotional state. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and mentally scan your body and mind for sensations and feelings. You may notice tension in your shoulders, a flutter in your stomach, or a racing heart. These physical cues are signals of underlying emotions. Pair these bodily sensations with the thoughts that accompany them. Ask yourself, what is this sensation telling me? What thought or belief is creating this feeling? By connecting your body and mind in this way, you create a habit of emotional literacy, being able to read and understand your feelings as they arise. It is essential to recognize that emotions are not inherently good or bad. They are data. Happiness, anger, sadness, fear, or excitement all provide information about your environment, your needs, and your values. Anger may indicate that a boundary has been crossed, sadness may highlight a loss, and anxiety may signal uncertainty or risk. By viewing emotions as information rather than as obstacles, you can approach them with curiosity instead of resistance. This mindset encourages exploration and insight rather than suppression or denial. When emotions are acknowledged and understood, they lose their power to control behavior impulsively, and instead, They become a guide to making conscious, deliberate choices. Journaling is one of the most effective ways to recognize and process emotions. Take time each day to write down your experiences, your reactions, and the feelings connected to them. Begin with the situation, what happened today, that triggered a strong response. Then write down the emotions that arose. Be specific. Instead of writing, "I felt bad," identify the exact emotion: frustration, disappointment, loneliness, or irritation. Next, explore the reasons behind these emotions. Ask yourself why you reacted the way you did and what beliefs or expectations contributed to this reaction. Journaling is not just an outlet, it is a mirror. It allows you to see patterns in your emotional life, understand recurring triggers, and gain insight into how your emotions shape your actions. Over time, this practice strengthens your emotional intelligence, giving you the ability to respond rather than react. Another critical aspect of recognizing emotions is distinguishing between primary and secondary emotions. Primary emotions are immediate, instinctive responses to events, such as fear when faced with danger or joy in a moment of achievement. Secondary emotions are layered and often result from reflection on primary emotions, such as guilt, shame, or resentment. Recognizing this distinction is essential because it allows you to trace your emotional responses back to their roots. When you feel frustrated, ask whether the frustration is a direct response to the situation or a product of accumulated stress, fear, or unmet expectations. By identifying the source of your emotions, you can address them more effectively and prevent them from dictating actions in unhelpful ways. Mindfulness practices are also invaluable for recognizing emotions. Mindfulness is the art of observing your experiences as they happen without judgment or attachment. It is the practice of being fully present with your thoughts, feelings, and sensations. Through mindfulness, you become aware of emotional patterns as they emerge. You notice how certain situations provoke anxiety, irritation, or joy. You begin to see the subtle shifts in your mood throughout the day and how these shifts influence your interactions and decisions. Mindfulness is not about eliminating emotions, it is about seeing them clearly, understanding their triggers, and learning to respond with clarity and calm rather than impulsively. Recognizing emotions also involves understanding the interplay between your thoughts and feelings. Thoughts generate emotions, and emotions influence thoughts. Negative self-talk can trigger fear or sadness, while optimistic thoughts can foster motivation and happiness. Awareness of this cycle allows you to intervene consciously. When you recognize an unhelpful thought pattern, pause and ask yourself whether it is accurate, constructive, or serving your goals. Replace distorted thinking with observations grounded in reality. By consciously linking thoughts and emotions, you create the ability to regulate your feelings without suppressing them. This skill is fundamental to emotional intelligence and personal growth. In addition to personal awareness, recognizing emotions requires acknowledging their impact on your behavior and relationships. Every action you take is filtered through your emotional state. When you are stressed, frustrated, or anxious, your decisions and interactions are influenced by these emotions, often in ways you may not fully realize. By monitoring your emotional state before engaging in important conversations or making significant decisions, you increase your ability to act intentionally. Pause, reflect, and ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? And how can I respond in a way that aligns with my values and goals? This pause creates space for choice, and choice is the essence of emotional mastery. Developing the habit of labeling emotions accurately is another practical strategy. Many people struggle with vague or generalized feelings, which makes it difficult to address them effectively. Use precise language instead of saying "I feel bad." Identify whether it is frustration, disappointment, envy, or sadness. Precise labeling sharpens your self-awareness and allows you to communicate more clearly with others. It also reduces the intensity of negative emotions. When you articulate your feelings, they become manageable and less overwhelming. This practice strengthens your ability to respond constructively in challenging situations. Recognizing emotions also includes noticing patterns over time. Emotional patterns reveal your strengths, vulnerabilities, and areas for growth. By reviewing your emotional responses in journals, mindfulness exercises, or reflective conversations, you can identify triggers that consistently provoke strong reactions. Are there specific people, situations, or environments that frequently elicit anger or anxiety? Recognizing these patterns empowers you to anticipate and prepare for emotional challenges rather than being blindsided by them. Over time, this awareness leads to greater self-control, resilience, and confidence in handling life's complexities. It is essential to approach emotional recognition with patience and compassion for yourself. Many people feel discomfort, guilt, or shame when confronting negative emotions. Recognizing emotions is not about self-criticism, it is about understanding. Treat yourself with the same curiosity and kindness you would offer a friend. Acknowledge that emotions are natural and that understanding them is a skill that improves with practice. Self-compassion fosters resilience, reduces internal conflict, and creates a foundation for authentic growth. Practical exercises can accelerate your emotional recognition. One effective exercise is the pause and name technique. When you notice a strong emotional reaction, stop for a moment and identify the feeling. Ask yourself what triggered it, what sensations accompany it, and what thoughts are contributing to it. Write this down or speak it aloud. This pause interrupts automatic reactions and allows for a more thoughtful response. Another exercise is the emotion mapping practice. At the end of each day, review your experiences and map out the emotions you felt throughout the day. Note the situations, triggers, intensity, and duration of each emotion. This practice increases awareness, highlights patterns, and strengthens emotional intelligence over time. Another important aspect is understanding the context of your emotions. Emotions are often shaped by the environment, relationships, and circumstances. Recognizing the influence of context helps prevent overreaction and provides clarity in interpretation. For example, stress at work may provoke irritability at home. Awareness of this context allows you to separate the source of emotion from the situation, reducing misunderstandings and conflict. Contextual awareness fosters emotional regulation, improves communication, and enhances relationships. Recognizing emotions also extends to understanding the subtle emotional currents in everyday interactions. Body language, tone of voice, and energy levels convey feelings that may not be spoken aloud. Developing sensitivity to these cues increases awareness of your own emotional impact and enhances empathy toward others. Observing your emotional responses during conversations and social interactions provides insight into habitual reactions, triggers, and areas for improvement. This observational skill is a cornerstone of emotional intelligence, enabling more intentional and effective communication. To fully integrate emotional recognition into daily life, it is helpful to establish consistent routines. Begin each day with a brief reflection on your current emotional state. Set intentions for how you want to manage your feelings and monitor your emotional responses throughout the day. End each day with a review of emotional experiences, noting insights, successes, and opportunities for growth. Consistency creates a feedback loop that reinforces awareness, builds self-discipline, and strengthens emotional intelligence over time. Recognizing emotions also involves embracing discomfort. Some emotions are challenging to face, such as fear, sadness, or guilt. These emotions provide valuable insights into unmet needs, unresolved conflicts, and areas of personal growth. Avoiding or suppressing these feelings only prolongs suffering and limits your capacity for self-understanding. By confronting discomfort with honesty and courage, you gain clarity, resilience, and the ability to act with intention even in difficult circumstances. Emotional awareness is not always comfortable, but it is transformative. Finally, recognizing your emotions is a lifelong practice. It is not a skill that is perfected once but refined continuously. Life presents new challenges, experiences, and relationships, each of which triggers emotions in unique ways. Maintaining awareness, reflection, and intentional response ensures that you continue to grow emotionally, psychologically, and socially. The habit of recognizing emotions daily strengthens your ability to navigate complexity, maintain balance, and create meaningful connections. It empowers you to live with clarity, purpose, and authenticity. In conclusion, Recognizing your emotions is the foundation of emotional intelligence and personal mastery. By developing awareness, labeling emotions accurately, connecting thoughts and feelings, observing patterns, and reflecting regularly, you cultivate the ability to understand yourself deeply. This understanding transforms how you make decisions, respond to challenges, and relate to others. It requires patience, discipline, and compassion, but the reward is profound. A life lived with emotional awareness is a life of clarity, intentionality, and meaningful growth. Every moment becomes an opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve. By committing to recognize your emotions every day, you take control of your life, strengthen resilience, and lay the groundwork for personal transformation that extends into every aspect of your existence. Awareness is not a destination but a practice, and through consistent effort, you develop the skill to navigate life with wisdom, balance, and strength, creating a life guided not by uncontrolled impulses but by conscious choice and intentional action. Chapter 20a: Manage your impulses to respond thoughtfully, not react emotionally. Impulse is a force that moves quickly and often without thought, shaping decisions and reactions before you even realize it. Managing impulses is not about suppressing emotions or denying your instincts. It is about creating a space between feeling and action, allowing you to respond deliberately rather than reacting instinctively. Every moment you spend reacting without thought is a moment where your life is being guided by external forces rather than by your conscious choice. True emotional intelligence begins with mastering this space, recognizing the power of pause, and choosing action aligned with your values and goals. The first step in managing impulses is awareness. You cannot control what you do not see. Notice when your body responds to a trigger. A tight chest, a rapid heartbeat, a surge of irritation or excitement, these are signals that an impulse is arising. Recognize these physical and mental cues as indicators, not commands. Observe without judgment. The moment you identify the stirrings of impulsive thought or emotion, you gain the first level of control. Awareness alone does not stop a reaction, but it establishes the possibility of choice. Creating a deliberate pause is essential. When faced with a strong emotion or immediate desire, give yourself time to breathe, step back, and reflect. Even a few seconds of conscious pause can drastically change the trajectory of your response. During this pause, acknowledge the impulse, name the emotion or desire, and question its purpose. Ask yourself whether acting on this impulse aligns with your long-term goals, values, or intentions. This simple but powerful practice transforms moments of potential regret into opportunities for thoughtful action. One practical way to implement this pause is through the technique of deep breathing. When impulses arise, take a series of slow, deliberate breaths. Focus on the sensation of air filling your lungs and leaving your body. This act of physical grounding shifts attention away from automatic reactions and toward conscious awareness. It gives your mind the clarity to evaluate the situation objectively. Combining breath with reflection cultivates self-discipline and strengthens your ability to remain calm under pressure. Understanding the triggers behind impulses is another critical element. Impulses rarely arise in a vacuum. They are often reactions to stress, fatigue, hunger, fear, or environmental stimuli. By identifying recurring triggers, you can anticipate impulsive moments before they escalate. Keep a log of situations that provoke strong emotional reactions. Note the circumstances, your immediate feelings, and the actions you considered taking. Patterns emerge, allowing you to develop strategies to mitigate triggers or prepare yourself for them in advance. This proactive approach converts potential vulnerability into a source of strength. Impulse management also involves restructuring thought patterns. When you feel a sudden urge to speak, act, or respond, question the necessity and consequences of that action. Replace automatic, reactive thinking with deliberate, constructive thought. Ask yourself, is this response helpful, necessary, or aligned with my principles? Could there be a more effective or strategic approach? Engaging your rational mind in the moment creates a bridge between emotion and action, transforming impulsivity into intentionality. Practicing self-discipline in small daily decisions builds the muscle required for larger challenges. Start with minor impulses, choosing not to react to a provocative comment, waiting a moment before interrupting, or resisting immediate gratification. Each small act of restraint strengthens your capacity to manage more significant impulses. Self-discipline compounds over time, enhancing emotional resilience and reinforcing the habit of thoughtful response. Consistency in small actions forms the foundation for control in high-stakes situations. Visualization is a powerful tool to anticipate and control impulsive reactions. Before entering potentially triggering situations, imagine yourself responding calmly, deliberately, and effectively. See yourself acknowledging the impulse, pausing, and choosing the most constructive course of action. Visualization trains the mind to respond in alignment with your intentions. When the real situation occurs, your brain has already rehearsed the response, making it easier to act with composure and wisdom. Reflection after impulsive moments is equally important. Even with awareness and preparation, impulses will occasionally override your intentions. When this happens, review the incident without judgment. Identify what triggered the reaction, what signals you may have missed, and how you could respond differently in the future. Reflection transforms mistakes into lessons and strengthens your ability to regulate impulses over time. This practice encourages accountability, self-compassion, and continuous improvement. Impulse management also extends to communication. Words spoken in haste can damage relationships, careers, and self-respect. Before responding, pause to assess the impact of your words. Consider whether they convey clarity, respect, and alignment with your values. Silence, when used intentionally, can be more powerful than immediate speech. Choosing to speak thoughtfully rather than reactively prevents unnecessary conflict and fosters trust and understanding in your interactions. Developing emotional granularity enhances your ability to manage impulses. Emotional granularity is the capacity to identify and differentiate between subtle variations of feelings. Instead of labeling your reaction simply as anger, recognize whether it is irritation, resentment, frustration, or hurt. By distinguishing nuances, you understand the root of the emotion and respond more precisely. Impulses are often reactions to undifferentiated emotional energy. Clarifying what you truly feel diffuses intensity and informs thoughtful action. Setting boundaries is another crucial aspect. Impulses are often strengthened by situations where personal limits are unclear or violated. Define what is acceptable and what is not in your interactions and environment. Communicate these boundaries firmly yet respectfully. When boundaries are established, you reduce the likelihood of reactive behavior caused by frustration, overextension, or resentment. Boundaries empower you to act with intention and preserve your emotional stability. Cultivating patience is intertwined with impulse control. Patience is the ability to wait for the right moment to act, rather than succumbing to immediate urges. It allows for thoughtful deliberation and measured responses. Practice patience in everyday life, waiting calmly in lines, listening fully before responding, or postponing immediate gratification. Each instance of patience reinforces your capacity to manage more intense impulses, strengthening emotional intelligence and self-mastery. Physical health also affects impulse control. Fatigue, hunger, and physical stress reduce the ability to respond thoughtfully. Ensuring adequate rest, nutrition, and movement creates a stable foundation for emotional regulation. The mind and body are interconnected. A well-cared-for body supports the deliberate and measured responses of a disciplined mind. Neglecting physical needs increases susceptibility to impulsive reactions and undermines your capacity for self-control. Developing a repertoire of coping strategies further enhances impulse management. Techniques such as journaling, meditation, physical activity, or engaging in creative outlets provide alternative channels to release emotional energy safely. These practices prevent impulses from being expressed destructively and offer constructive means to process strong feelings. A toolkit of strategies ensures readiness for various situations, reducing the likelihood of reactive behavior. It is also important to align impulse management with long-term goals. Each impulsive action has consequences that accumulate over time. By connecting daily decisions to broader objectives, you strengthen the motivation to respond thoughtfully. Ask yourself whether an immediate reaction serves your future self or undermines your aspirations. Viewing impulses through the lens of long-term vision transforms momentary urges into opportunities for disciplined action and growth. Accountability amplifies your ability to manage impulses. Share your commitment to thoughtful responses with trusted individuals who can provide feedback, perspective, and support. Discussing challenges, successes, and setbacks creates an external layer of accountability, reinforcing internal discipline. Accountability encourages reflection, honesty, and continuous improvement in controlling reactive behavior. Mindset shapes impulse management profoundly. Embrace the belief that every response is a choice. You are not a passive observer of your emotions. You are an active participant in deciding how to act. Cultivate the mindset that challenges and provocations are opportunities to practice self-control rather than threats to your composure. This perspective transforms life into a training ground for emotional mastery, resilience, and wisdom. Finally, managing impulses is a lifelong practice. There will always be moments of temptation, stress, and provocation. The difference between those who act destructively and those who act thoughtfully lies in consistent training, awareness, and reflection. Each day presents opportunities to practice restraint, evaluate reactions, and refine strategies. Over time, these practices become habitual, forming a natural, disciplined, and intentional way of being that permeates all aspects of life. Managing impulses is the bridge between emotional awareness and emotional intelligence. It transforms raw emotion into constructive action, guides decision-making, and strengthens relationships. Through awareness, pause, reflection, boundary setting, patience, and alignment with goals, impulses are no longer uncontrollable forces, but opportunities for deliberate, conscious choices. Mastering this skill cultivates resilience, clarity, and integrity. Life becomes navigated not by instinctive reaction but by intentional response, ensuring that each action contributes to growth, stability, and a meaningful, purpose-driven existence. Chapter 30. Observe others' emotions to improve your personal and professional relationships. Understanding the emotions of others is a skill that profoundly shapes the quality of our interactions and the depth of our connections. Observing emotions is more than noticing facial expressions or body language. It is about perceiving underlying feelings, intentions, and needs that are not always openly expressed. In every interaction, people convey subtle signals through tone, gestures, and micro-expressions, and learning to interpret these cues accurately allows for stronger relationships, both personally and professionally. Developing this skill requires attention, empathy, and consistent practice. It is not automatic, but the effort invested in reading emotions enhances communication, trust, and influence. The first step in observing others' emotions is intentional focus. Most people are preoccupied with their own thoughts, assumptions, or plans, which limits their capacity to notice emotional signals in others. To truly observe, you must be present in the moment, giving undivided attention to the individual. Notice how they speak, the cadence of their voice, pauses, the intensity of words, and any changes in their usual tone. Observe gestures, posture, eye contact, and facial expressions, all of which provide insight into their emotional state. Presence requires discipline because it means setting aside distractions and fully engaging with the person before you. Listening is the foundation of observing emotions. Active listening is not just hearing words, it involves understanding context, tone, and the emotions behind the message. Pay attention to what is said and what is left unsaid. Often, feelings are communicated indirectly through hesitation, word choice, or repetition. A person might express contentment while their eyes or posture convey discomfort. By focusing on these signals, you gain a clearer understanding of their true emotional experience. Listening fully requires resisting the urge to formulate responses immediately, allowing space for observation and comprehension. Empathy is the next layer in interpreting emotions accurately. Empathy is not about agreement or fixing someone else's feelings. It is about connecting with their emotional experience. To strengthen empathy, imagine what it feels like to be in the other person's situation, considering the pressures, expectations, and challenges they face. Empathy allows you to respond in a way that acknowledges their emotional state, which builds trust and encourages openness. The more consistently you practice empathy, the more intuitively you can recognize subtle emotional cues that would otherwise go unnoticed. Nonverbal communication plays a critical role in observing emotions. Often, people reveal more through body language than through words. Notice shifts in posture, such as crossed arms, slumped shoulders, or leaning away, which may indicate discomfort, defensiveness, or disengagement. Eye movements and gaze patterns provide clues to attention, interest, or discomfort. Facial expressions, even fleeting micro-expressions, reveal underlying feelings. By studying these nonverbal signals carefully, you develop the ability to sense emotions before they are explicitly stated. Awareness of these cues enhances social intelligence and improves the ability to navigate complex interpersonal dynamics. Context is essential when interpreting others' emotions. A behavior that seems negative in one context might be neutral or even positive in another. Consider the environment, the situation, and recent experiences that may influence emotional expression. Work stress, personal challenges, cultural differences, or fatigue can all impact how emotions are displayed. Observing the broader context allows you to interpret cues more accurately and prevents misjudgments. Understanding context ensures that your responses are appropriate, constructive, and sensitive to the realities of the other person's life. Observation also involves noticing patterns over time. Emotions are dynamic, and observing someone in multiple interactions provides a more complete picture of their emotional landscape. By tracking reactions, mood shifts, and recurring behaviors, you begin to understand how they respond to stress, encouragement, success, or conflict. Patterns reveal consistent triggers and preferences, helping you anticipate needs, offer support, and communicate more effectively. Long-term observation deepens relational intelligence, enabling you to adjust your approach to foster cooperation, trust, and mutual respect. Curiosity is a powerful tool in observing emotions. Ask questions, explore their perspectives, and remain genuinely interested in their experiences. People often reveal feelings and motivations when prompted with thoughtful inquiry. Open-ended questions invite conversation and allow for deeper understanding, revealing emotional states that may not be immediately visible. Curiosity must be balanced with sensitivity, ensuring that your inquiries are respectful and non-intrusive. When used appropriately, curiosity strengthens relationships and enhances your ability to perceive and respond to emotions accurately. Practicing patience is crucial. Emotions are not always immediately visible, and people may mask their feelings for various reasons, such as fear, pride, or social expectations. Avoid rushing to conclusions based on superficial cues. Instead, observe consistently and wait for patterns to emerge. Patience allows you to distinguish between temporary emotional reactions and more stable emotional states, improving the accuracy of your observations. A measured approach prevents misinterpretation and ensures your responses are thoughtful rather than reactive. Emotional labeling aids in comprehension. As you observe, mentally note the emotions you perceive. Is it frustration, anxiety, excitement, or disappointment? Labeling helps organize and process what you notice, making it easier to respond effectively. It also prevents projecting your own emotions onto others, which can distort interpretation. The process of categorizing emotional signals sharpens your understanding and strengthens your capacity to act with awareness and compassion. Clear recognition of emotions allows for precise and meaningful engagement. Developing situational awareness is another key aspect. Observe how individuals respond, not just to you, but to the broader environment and interactions with others. Notice how they react to authority, peer opinions, or unexpected changes. Awareness of their responses in different contexts provides insight into their motivations, values, and stress points. This understanding enhances your ability to navigate social dynamics, influence outcomes, and offer support when appropriate. Situational observation creates a comprehensive picture that informs strategic and empathetic interaction. Responding appropriately to observed emotions is the natural extension of observation. Once you perceive someone's emotional state, tailor your response to acknowledge and respect it. This could mean offering support, adjusting communication style, giving space, or providing encouragement. Recognition without response leaves understanding unutilized. Thoughtful reactions build credibility, strengthen bonds, and reinforce a cycle of trust and openness. The quality of relationships improves when people feel seen, heard, and valued for their emotional experiences. Observation skills extend to professional settings as well. In workplaces, recognizing colleagues' emotions enhances collaboration, reduces conflict, and improves leadership effectiveness. Observing stress signals, disengagement, or enthusiasm allows for timely intervention, whether by offering assistance, adjusting workloads, or leveraging strengths. Emotional perception is a competitive advantage in professional environments, as it enables better decision-making, fosters cohesive teams, and builds influence through empathetic leadership. Awareness of emotional dynamics creates workplaces where individuals feel understood and supported. Cultural sensitivity is essential in interpreting emotions accurately. Different cultures express feelings in unique ways, and assumptions based on one's own norms can lead to misinterpretation. Observe behaviors and expressions within the cultural context of the individual, considering how social expectations shape emotional display. Respect for cultural differences strengthens observation and ensures that responses are appropriate and effective. Cultural awareness enhances both personal and professional relationships by promoting inclusivity and understanding. Practices such as mindfulness and reflective observation reinforce emotional perception. By dedicating time to review interactions, recall cues, and evaluate responses, you sharpen your ability to notice subtleties. Reflection strengthens memory, attention to detail, and understanding of relational dynamics. It also allows for learning from past interactions, refining observation techniques, and improving future engagement. Mindfulness and reflection turn ordinary encounters into opportunities for growth in emotional intelligence. Empowerment through observation is another outcome. When you accurately perceive others' emotions, you can respond strategically, prevent misunderstandings, and nurture cooperation. You gain the ability to influence outcomes while respecting autonomy. This skill fosters stronger alliances, deeper connections, and more meaningful interactions. Observing emotions is not about manipulation but about alignment, communication, and creating environments where people feel safe, understood, and respected. Finally, observing others' emotions cultivates a mindset of respect and humility. Recognizing that emotions are complex, unique, and often hidden encourages patience, tolerance, and compassion. You understand that everyone has their struggles, motivations, and perspectives that shape their behavior. This awareness strengthens relationships by fostering empathy, reducing conflict, and promoting meaningful connections. The ability to observe and respond to emotions thoughtfully is a lifelong skill, one that enhances every interaction and contributes profoundly to personal and professional success. Chapter 4a. Express your feelings clearly to build trust and connection. Clear expression of feelings is essential for creating trust and meaningful connections with others. Sharing emotions is not about oversharing or seeking approval. It is about communicating honestly and respectfully in a way that allows others to understand your inner experience. People respond to clarity because it removes ambiguity, reduces assumptions, and fosters openness. When emotions are articulated effectively, misunderstandings diminish, relationships deepen, and collaboration becomes more authentic. Expressing feelings clearly requires courage, self-awareness, and intentionality. It is a skill that strengthens both personal and professional interactions and builds a foundation of trust that others can rely on. The first step in expressing feelings clearly is recognizing your emotions fully before attempting to communicate them. Many misunderstandings occur because people speak without understanding what they truly feel. Take the time to identify the emotion, its intensity, and its origin. Is it frustration at a specific behavior, disappointment from unmet expectations, or pride in an accomplishment? The more precise you are about your emotions, the easier it becomes to communicate them in a way that others can comprehend. Clarity within yourself translates directly into clarity in your communication. Using specific and accurate language is crucial. Vague statements like "I feel bad" or "I am upset" create confusion and leave others guessing about the true nature of your feelings. Instead, identify the exact emotion and describe it without judgment or blame. Saying "I feel frustrated because a deadline was missed" conveys both the feeling and the reason behind it. This specificity reduces defensiveness, encourages dialogue, and allows others to respond appropriately. The words you choose shape the perception and impact of your message, making careful selection essential. Timing matters when expressing emotions. Sharing feelings in the heat of the moment can lead to reactive communication, while waiting too long can result in unresolved tension. Assess the situation and choose a moment when both you and the other person can engage constructively. A calm and intentional approach ensures your message is received with understanding rather than resistance. Awareness of timing also demonstrates respect for the other person's emotional state, which strengthens trust and mutual respect. Nonverbal communication supports verbal expression. Tone of voice, posture, gestures, and eye contact all convey emotion and enhance the clarity of your message. Maintaining a composed and open demeanor ensures that your words are supported by congruent signals, reducing confusion or misinterpretation. Facial expressions that match the emotion being expressed reinforce honesty and sincerity. Consistency between verbal and nonverbal communication communicates authenticity and reinforces the message's credibility. Active listening is integral to expressing feelings effectively. Before sharing your emotions, ensure that you have understood the other person's perspective. Acknowledging their feelings demonstrates empathy and creates an environment where open communication is welcomed. When people feel heard, they are more likely to respond thoughtfully and engage in dialogue rather than defensiveness. Listening first provides context and allows you to tailor your expression to be both clear and considerate. Framing emotions constructively is essential for maintaining healthy connections. Express feelings using statements that focus on your experience rather than accusing or blaming others. Using I statements such as "I feel disappointed" when deadlines are missed instead of "you always fail to meet deadlines" fosters understanding rather than conflict. Constructive framing emphasizes personal experience and encourages collaboration, reducing defensiveness and creating opportunities for problem solving and resolution. Consistency in emotional expression builds reliability and trust over time. When you consistently articulate your feelings honestly and respectfully, others learn that they can rely on your words. Consistency also prevents the accumulation of unspoken emotions that can lead to resentment or misunderstanding. Regularly sharing emotions in a balanced and thoughtful manner ensures that relationships are maintained on a foundation of transparency and integrity, strengthening long-term bonds. Awareness of cultural and personal differences enhances clarity. People express and interpret emotions differently based on background, experience, and personality. Observing reactions and adjusting communication style accordingly ensures that your message is understood as intended. Sensitivity to these differences demonstrates respect and emotional intelligence, enhancing trust and connection in diverse interactions. Flexibility in approach ensures that clarity is maintained without compromising authenticity. Reflecting on your communication after expressing feelings reinforces skill development. Consider how your words and tone were received and whether the intended message was conveyed effectively. Evaluate areas for improvement and refine your approach in future interactions. Reflection provides insight into both personal habits and relational dynamics, allowing for continuous growth in expressing emotions clearly and building trust. Over time, this reflection enhances self-awareness and interpersonal effectiveness. Practicing emotional expression in low-stakes situations strengthens competence for more significant interactions. Engage in conversations where you can share feelings about everyday experiences, small challenges, or positive achievements. These exercises build confidence, improve clarity, and reduce anxiety associated with emotional expression. Gradually applying these skills to more complex situations ensures that you can communicate effectively under pressure while maintaining authenticity and connection. Acknowledging vulnerability is a key aspect of expressing emotions clearly. Sharing emotions often involves exposing personal thoughts and experiences that may feel uncomfortable. Embracing vulnerability demonstrates courage and honesty, signaling to others that you are trustworthy. Vulnerability fosters reciprocity, encouraging others to share their own feelings and creating a cycle of openness and mutual respect. It strengthens intimacy and authenticity in both personal and professional relationships. Balancing honesty with discretion is critical. Not every emotion requires expression in every context. Assess the relevance, appropriateness, and potential impact before sharing feelings. Strategic discretion allows you to maintain professionalism, protect sensitive information, and preserve relationships while still being authentic. This balance ensures that your communication is effective, constructive, and aligned with the broader context of interaction. Integrating self-regulation into emotional expression enhances effectiveness. Being aware of impulses, stress, and mood allows you to communicate without letting intensity or frustration override clarity. Self-regulation ensures that emotions are expressed thoughtfully rather than reactively, reducing the risk of conflict and misunderstanding. This practice strengthens control over emotional expression, maintaining both authenticity and composure. Building emotional vocabulary supports precision in expression. Expanding the range of words used to describe feelings allows for nuanced communication. Words such as content, frustrated, anxious, elated, or concerned convey specific emotional states more accurately than general terms. A richer emotional vocabulary enhances understanding, reduces ambiguity, and allows others to respond appropriately to your emotional cues. Engaging in reciprocal communication reinforces connection. Express your feelings while inviting others to share theirs. Encourage dialogue, ask questions, and respond with acknowledgement and empathy. Reciprocal engagement creates an environment of mutual understanding and trust, strengthening the quality of the relationship. Emotional expression is most effective when it facilitates exchange rather than one-sided declaration. Understanding the consequences of emotional expression increases intentionality. Consider how your words will impact the other person, the relationship, and the environment. Thoughtful consideration ensures that emotions are communicated constructively and that outcomes align with relationship goals. Awareness of consequences encourages responsibility, accountability, and maturity in communication, fostering trust and collaboration. Incorporating storytelling can enhance clarity and relatability. Sharing experiences that illustrate emotions provides context and makes abstract feelings tangible. Explaining why a situation evokes a particular emotion helps others understand your perspective and strengthens connection. Narrative techniques create engagement, empathy, and comprehension, making emotional communication more compelling and impactful. Finally, consistent practice over time builds mastery. Expressing feelings clearly is a skill developed through reflection, observation, and repeated effort. Each conversation is an opportunity to refine articulation, calibrate tone, and strengthen relational bonds. Commitment to intentional communication transforms interactions, enhances trust, and deepens connection, creating a foundation for emotionally intelligent relationships that endure challenges and foster growth. Chapter 5: Develop active listening skills to truly understand people around you. Active listening is one of the most powerful tools for understanding the people around you and building meaningful connections. It goes far beyond simply hearing words. It is about fully engaging with the speaker, noticing both what is said and what is left unsaid, and demonstrating that their thoughts and feelings are valued. Active listening requires intention, presence, and focus, and when practiced consistently, it strengthens relationships, fosters trust, and enhances personal and professional interactions. Developing this skill begins with a conscious decision to prioritize understanding over responding, allowing the person in front of you to feel truly acknowledged and respected. The first step in cultivating active listening is creating mental and physical presence. Multitasking or letting your mind wander interrupts the connection and reduces comprehension. Eliminate distractions and dedicate your attention to the speaker. Maintain eye contact, adopt an open posture, and orient your body toward the person to signal attentiveness. Physical alignment reinforces mental focus, demonstrating commitment to understanding their message. Presence ensures that every word and nonverbal cue is noticed and interpreted accurately. Paying close attention to verbal and nonverbal signals is critical. Words convey content, but tone, pace, and emphasis provide insight into the speaker's emotional state and intent. Listen for subtle shifts in volume or pitch, pauses, and repetition, as these often indicate areas of importance or sensitivity. Observe facial expressions, gestures, and body language to gain deeper understanding. Nonverbal cues frequently reveal emotions or concerns that are not explicitly stated, making them essential for comprehensive comprehension. Suspending judgment is another key principle. Listeners often form opinions or plan responses before the speaker has finished, which can hinder true understanding. Instead, focus on receiving the message without evaluating it prematurely. Set aside assumptions, biases, or personal agendas and prioritize the speaker's experience. By withholding judgment, you create a safe space for open communication and increase the accuracy of your understanding. Suspended judgment encourages honesty and authenticity in dialogue. Paraphrasing and summarizing are practical strategies to reinforce comprehension. Restate what you heard in your own words to confirm understanding. Phrases like "I hear you saying" or "it sounds like you are feeling" help clarify meaning and show that you are actively engaged. Summarizing ensures alignment between what was intended and what was received, preventing misinterpretation. It also signals respect and attentiveness, deepening trust and facilitating smoother conversations. Asking open-ended questions enhances active listening. Questions that begin with "what," "how," or "can you explain" encourage elaboration and exploration rather than limiting responses to yes or no. These questions invite the speaker to share more details, emotions, and perspectives. Thoughtful inquiry demonstrates curiosity and investment in the conversation, creating richer understanding and more meaningful interaction. Skillful questioning complements observation and reflection, strengthening overall communication. Managing your internal dialogue is essential. Listeners often hear while simultaneously thinking about their responses, distractions, or unrelated concerns. Consciously monitoring and quieting internal chatter ensures full attention is devoted to the speaker. Awareness of your own reactions allows you to focus on understanding rather than reacting, which improves accuracy and empathy. Controlling internal dialogue transforms listening from a passive activity into an engaged and intentional practice. Emotional regulation supports active listening. Strong reactions to what is being said can interfere with comprehension and derail interaction. Practice maintaining calm, especially when the topic evokes discomfort, disagreement, or frustration. Recognize your feelings without allowing them to dominate attention. Emotional control creates clarity and allows for responses that are measured, respectful, and aligned with understanding. Mastering this skill ensures the listener remains a reliable presence in any conversation. Observation of patterns and context is beneficial. People often communicate in habitual ways influenced by personality, environment, and culture. Noticing patterns in speech, tone, or behavior provides insight into underlying emotions, needs, or thought processes. Contextual understanding allows for more accurate interpretation and prevents assumptions based solely on isolated statements. Awareness of situational influences strengthens perception and fosters nuanced comprehension. Practicing patience is fundamental to effective listening. Some individuals take time to articulate thoughts or feelings clearly. Interrupting or finishing their sentences reduces clarity and can damage trust. Allow silence when needed, giving space for processing and expression. Patience conveys respect and encourages the speaker to share fully without fear of judgment or hasty correction. It reinforces the value of their perspective and strengthens relational bonds. Reflective feedback is a key element. Offering observations or gentle reflections on what you hear can help the speaker clarify and explore their own thoughts. For instance, highlighting specific emotions or statements, such as "it seems you felt overlooked in that situation," validates their experience while encouraging deeper insight. Reflective feedback enhances understanding and shows that listening extends beyond passive reception into active engagement. Active listening also involves noticing inconsistencies or gaps in communication. People sometimes express one thing verbally while their body language or tone suggests another. Identifying and addressing these gaps thoughtfully allows for clarity and prevents misunderstanding. Gentle exploration of contradictions fosters trust, promotes honesty, and encourages more complete expression. Awareness of these subtleties differentiates effective listeners from casual or inattentive ones. Engaging fully with the speaker requires curiosity and humility. Recognize that you do not have all the answers, and that understanding their experience may reveal perspectives different from your own. Approach each conversation with openness and a willingness to learn. Curiosity motivates attention, inquiry, and reflection, while humility ensures receptivity without judgment. This combination strengthens connections and deepens relational intelligence. Active listening improves problem-solving and collaboration. When people feel heard, they are more willing to share ideas, concerns, and feedback. Listening attentively allows you to gather complete information, identify priorities, and respond constructively. It reduces conflict, increases cooperation, and facilitates creative solutions. Listening transforms interactions into opportunities for mutual understanding and effective action rather than confrontation or miscommunication. Building trust through listening requires consistency. People notice when you consistently pay attention, remember details, and respond thoughtfully. Reliability in listening signals respect and integrity, creating a foundation for deeper connections. Over time, consistent practice cultivates credibility and encourages others to be open and forthcoming. Trust earned through active listening enhances both personal and professional relationships significantly. Maintaining balance in listening is important. While engagement is crucial, avoid over-involvement or taking responsibility for the speaker's feelings. Listen fully but recognize boundaries between empathy and enmeshment. Healthy listening supports others without compromising your own emotional stability. This balance ensures that the connection is constructive, sustainable, and mutually beneficial. Observation of subtle emotional cues supports understanding. Notice changes in breathing, facial expressions, and gestures. Even minor variations can indicate shifts in emotion or emphasis. Awareness of these subtleties allows you to address unspoken concerns and respond appropriately. Attentiveness to these signals enhances relational intelligence and reinforces a sense of connection and safety. Self-reflection after interactions reinforces skill development. Review conversations to evaluate what was heard, how emotions were perceived, and how responses could be improved. Identify areas for growth and celebrate successful engagement. Reflection strengthens memory, comprehension, and future listening performance, creating a continuous cycle of improvement. Regular practice ensures that active listening becomes an instinctive, reliable skill. Finally, integrating active listening into daily life transforms relationships. By consistently observing, questioning, reflecting, and engaging with attention and empathy, you build trust, foster understanding, and create authentic connections. This practice enriches personal bonds, enhances professional collaboration, and strengthens the ability to navigate social dynamics with skill and confidence. Active listening is not a passive habit, but an intentional discipline that shapes communication, influence, and emotional intelligence. Mastering this skill ensures that every interaction becomes an opportunity for growth, understanding, and meaningful connection. Chapter 60. Strengthen empathy by seeing situations through other people's perspectives. Empathy is the ability to understand and connect with the emotions and experiences of others, and it is a cornerstone of emotional intelligence. Strengthening empathy begins with the conscious effort to see situations from perspectives other than your own, which allows you to engage with people more deeply and respond in ways that foster trust and cooperation. Empathy is not about agreeing with everyone or condoning behavior. It is about recognizing their experience, validating their feelings, and creating meaningful human connection. This skill requires observation, reflection, patience, and a willingness to step outside of personal assumptions and judgments. The first step in cultivating empathy is active observation. People communicate far more than their words suggest. Pay close attention to their tone, body language and facial expressions. Observe the subtleties in gestures, posture, and eye contact. Notice inconsistencies between words and behavior, as these often reveal deeper emotional layers. By honing your observation skills, you begin to gather clues about the emotions and motivations that underlie their actions. Accurate observation forms the foundation for empathetic understanding. Next, practice perspective taking. This involves mentally placing yourself in another person's situation and considering how they might feel, think, and react given their circumstances. Ask yourself questions such as what challenges might they be facing, what pressures might be influencing their decisions, or how might their past experiences shape their current behavior. Perspective taking allows you to move beyond initial judgments and see situations through a broader, more compassionate lens. The ability to adopt another viewpoint strengthens relational awareness and deepens human understanding. Listening plays a critical role in developing empathy. Truly listen without planning your response or interrupting. Focus on understanding both the content and the emotion behind the words. A person often communicates their needs, fears, and desires through subtle cues that require careful attention. By listening fully, you validate their experience and encourage open, honest dialogue. Effective listening demonstrates respect and creates space for emotional connection, which is essential for empathy. Emotional attunement enhances the ability to empathize. Pay attention to the rhythm and intensity of the emotions being expressed. Notice whether the person is anxious, excited, frustrated, or hopeful. Matching your response to their emotional energy without mimicking it allows for connection while maintaining balance. Emotional attunement requires sensitivity and awareness, and it strengthens your capacity to engage with others in a meaningful, supportive way. Self-awareness supports empathy because understanding your own emotions allows you to differentiate between your feelings and those of others. Recognize when your reactions are influenced by personal biases, past experiences, or unresolved emotions. By maintaining awareness of your emotional state, you can respond to others without projecting your own issues onto them. Self-awareness ensures that empathy is grounded in understanding rather than assumption or self-centered interpretation. Questioning and clarification are powerful tools for deepening empathy. When you are unsure about someone's feelings or perspective, ask open and respectful questions. Encourage them to share more details, clarify intentions, or describe their experiences. Questions such as "How did that feel?" or "What led you to that decision?" invite reflection and disclosure. Thoughtful inquiry shows genuine interest and helps you grasp the full scope of their emotional reality. Empathy also involves recognizing and validating emotions. Even if you would not feel the same way in a similar situation, acknowledging the validity of someone else's feelings fosters trust. Phrases like "I can see why that would be upsetting," or "It makes sense you feel this way," communicate understanding without judgment. Validation is a critical step in empathy because it bridges the gap between recognition and meaningful connection. It reassures the person that their emotions are seen and respected. Understanding context is essential in strengthening empathy. People's behaviors and emotions are shaped by their environment, culture, history, and circumstances. Observing these influences allows you to interpret their actions more accurately and respond with compassion rather than criticism. Contextual awareness ensures that your empathy is informed, balanced, and realistic, increasing the effectiveness of your interactions. Empathy requires patience. People often take time to reveal their true feelings or perspectives. Allow for silence, reflection, and gradual disclosure without pressure or impatience. Patience signals respect for the other person's process and creates a safe environment for authentic expression. By giving others the time they need to share fully, you deepen your understanding and strengthen the connection. Practicing empathy in small, daily interactions reinforces the skill over time. Pay attention to the feelings of colleagues, family members, and friends in routine situations. Observe subtle signs of stress, joy, or discomfort and respond thoughtfully. Each small moment of empathetic engagement builds the habit of perceiving and considering the emotional experience of others, making it easier to apply in more complex or emotionally charged situations. Reflection after interactions enhances empathetic growth. Review conversations and situations to identify what emotions were expressed, how they were communicated, and how your responses aligned with their needs. Consider areas where understanding could have been deeper or where assumptions may have interfered. Reflection transforms each interaction into a learning opportunity and strengthens the accuracy and depth of future empathetic responses. Empathy also benefits from imaginative exercises. Consciously envision yourself in the shoes of people with different life experiences, beliefs, or challenges. Imagine their daily routines, pressures, and emotional landscapes. These exercises broaden perspective, reduce unconscious biases, and increase sensitivity to the struggles and motivations of others. Regular practice cultivates a mindset of compassion and inclusivity. Recognizing common humanity enhances empathy. While individual experiences differ, acknowledging that everyone faces challenges, desires understanding, and seeks connection creates a sense of shared experience. This understanding reduces judgment and fosters compassion. By focusing on shared human needs and emotions, you respond with insight, patience, and care, strengthening relationships and social bonds. Empathy also requires self-regulation to prevent emotional overwhelm. Absorbing others' feelings can be intense, and without boundaries, it may lead to stress or burnout. Recognize when to step back, process emotions, and maintain your own equilibrium. Balanced empathy allows you to remain present, supportive, and effective without compromising your well-being. Maintaining this balance ensures sustainable and consistent practice of empathetic engagement. Responding appropriately is a crucial component of empathy. Observing and understanding feelings is valuable only when paired with thoughtful action. Your response might involve offering support, adjusting behavior, giving space, or communicating understanding. Responding with consideration reinforces trust, validates the other person, and fosters stronger interpersonal connections. Empathetic action bridges perception and meaningful engagement. Empathy strengthens collaboration and conflict resolution. Understanding multiple perspectives allows for negotiation, compromise, and problem-solving with greater effectiveness. Recognizing the emotions and needs of all parties involved prevents escalation, encourages cooperation, and fosters constructive outcomes. In professional and personal contexts, empathy becomes a strategic and relational advantage, improving both communication and results. Cultivating empathy enhances personal growth. Each opportunity to perceive and consider another's perspective builds patience, tolerance, and insight. Engaging with diverse viewpoints challenges assumptions, expands emotional awareness, and encourages humility. This growth strengthens emotional intelligence, resilience, and interpersonal effectiveness. Empathy becomes a practice of continuous learning and self-improvement. Finally, empathy is a skill developed through consistent, intentional practice. Observation, perspective-taking, active listening, validation, reflection, and balanced responsiveness form the foundation of empathetic engagement. By continually applying these practices, empathy becomes a natural and integrated part of your interactions, enriching relationships, enhancing emotional intelligence, and fostering meaningful human connection. Mastering empathy transforms how you understand, respond to, and influence the people around you, creating trust, respect, and enduring relational strength. Chapter 7D builds self-awareness by reflecting honestly on your daily behaviors. Self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth and emotional intelligence because it allows you to understand your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors clearly and accurately. Building self-awareness begins with the deliberate practice of observing your own actions and reactions throughout the day and reflecting honestly on how they influence your experiences and relationships. Without reflection, patterns of behavior remain unconscious and opportunities for improvement are missed. Developing this awareness requires honesty, discipline, and consistent effort, but the payoff is profound, leading to greater clarity, intentionality, and control over your life. The first step is observing daily behaviors with attention and detail. Take notice of your routines, habits, and automatic reactions. Consider how you respond to stress, conflict, or success. Observe your communication style, your tendencies in relationships, and your decision-making patterns. By tracking these behaviors, you begin to see recurring themes and habits that shape your life, providing a clear starting point for reflection and improvement. Observation without judgment allows for honest assessment without self-criticism. Journaling is a practical and powerful tool for reflection. Writing down your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors at the end of each day creates a record that can be reviewed and analyzed over time. Journals allow for tracking progress, identifying triggers, and uncovering unconscious patterns. Be specific about situations, your reactions, and the emotions you experienced. Recording these details strengthens memory, enhances self-recognition, and provides insight into how your actions affect yourself and others. As part of reflection, identify the motivations behind your behaviors. Ask yourself why you responded in a certain way and what needs, fears, or desires influenced your choices. Understanding the underlying drivers of behavior illuminates patterns that may otherwise go unnoticed. Motivation analysis enables intentional change rather than simply reacting to circumstances. When you know why you act in certain ways, you can consciously adjust responses to align with your goals and values. Recognizing emotional triggers is essential for self-awareness. Identify events, people, or situations that provoke strong reactions, whether positive or negative. Notice how your body responds to these triggers, such as tension, restlessness, or excitement. Understanding triggers allows you to anticipate emotional responses and develop strategies for managing them effectively. Awareness of triggers transforms reactive behavior into proactive management, improving decision-making and emotional regulation. Reflecting on successes and failures equally enhances self-awareness. Examine moments when you acted intentionally and effectively, as well as instances where you fell short or made mistakes. Analyze what factors contributed to both outcomes and what you can learn from each experience. Honest reflection on failures without self-condemnation provides opportunities for growth and resilience. Celebrating successes reinforces positive behavior and motivates continued improvement. Solicit feedback from others to gain perspective beyond your own view. Trusted colleagues, friends, or mentors can provide insights into how your behaviors are perceived and the impact you have on others. Listen openly to constructive feedback without defensiveness and integrate observations into your reflective practice. External perspectives often reveal blind spots that internal reflection alone cannot uncover, broadening your understanding and fostering self-improvement. Mindfulness supports self-awareness by training attention on the present moment. Being mindful of your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations throughout the day enhances your ability to notice behaviors as they occur. Mindfulness exercises, such as brief pauses to assess your mood or breathing patterns, increase clarity and reduce automatic reactions. This heightened awareness allows for conscious choices rather than habitual or impulsive behavior. Assess alignment with personal values during reflection. Consider whether your actions, decisions, and interactions reflect the principles you aim to live by. Misalignment between behavior and values often leads to internal conflict, dissatisfaction, and stress. Honest evaluation of alignment provides a framework for adjusting habits and choices, fostering integrity, authenticity, and fulfillment in daily life. Pattern recognition is a key benefit of consistent reflection. Over time, regular examination of your behaviors reveals recurring tendencies, strengths, and areas needing improvement. Recognizing these patterns allows for strategic intervention, reinforcing positive habits and modifying negative ones. Understanding patterns also highlights consistency in decision-making, emotional responses, and interpersonal dynamics, which is vital for long-term personal growth. Self-awareness extends to understanding your communication style. Reflect on how you express ideas, emotions, and feedback. Consider whether your tone, word choice, and body language create clarity, connection, and respect or confusion, tension, and misunderstanding. Awareness of communication habits allows for adjustments that improve relationships, collaboration, and influence. Integrating accountability strengthens the reflection process. Accept responsibility for your actions and their consequences, without deflecting blame. Honest acknowledgement of both successes and shortcomings fosters personal growth, maturity, and credibility. Accountability ensures that reflection is transformative rather than passive, guiding consistent action toward improvement. Set intentions for daily behavior based on reflection. After reviewing the day, identify specific actions, reactions, or attitudes to cultivate or change in the coming day. Intentionality transforms insight into practical application, allowing self-awareness to influence behavior directly. Small, consistent adjustments in response to reflection accumulate into meaningful long-term growth. Self-compassion is crucial while reflecting on behaviors. Honest observation does not mean harsh judgment. Treat yourself with kindness, recognize effort, and acknowledge progress. Self-compassion reduces resistance to change and encourages persistent engagement with reflective practice. A balanced approach ensures that self-awareness strengthens confidence and resilience rather than inducing guilt or discouragement. Consider long-term goals during reflection. Evaluate how daily behaviors contribute to or detract from achieving personal and professional objectives. Aligning actions with long-term aspirations ensures that self-awareness guides purposeful development. Reflection with goal orientation transforms self-awareness from a passive skill into an active tool for life design and personal achievement. Observe emotional patterns in addition to behavioral ones. Note recurring moods, triggers, and reactions across different situations. Understanding emotional tendencies provides insight into underlying beliefs, fears, and values, allowing for more intentional management of feelings. Emotional self-awareness enhances empathy for others and improves emotional intelligence in all areas of life. Create a feedback loop by combining observation, reflection, and action. Reflect on behaviors, implement changes consciously, and observe the outcomes. Continuously iterate this cycle to refine actions, improve decision-making, and enhance self-understanding. This feedback loop reinforces accountability, promotes consistent growth, and ensures that self-awareness translates into tangible improvements. Reflection also involves assessing interpersonal impact. Consider how your behaviors affect colleagues, friends, and family. Evaluate whether your actions build trust, support, and connection or cause tension, confusion, or disengagement. Awareness of interpersonal influence enables adjustments that enhance relationships and social effectiveness, strengthening both personal and professional bonds. Finally, build self-awareness as a daily habit. Integrate observation, reflection, mindfulness, and intentional action consistently to make it automatic. The cumulative effect of regular practice increases emotional intelligence, enhances decision-making, improves relationships, and promotes resilience. Self-awareness transforms your ability to navigate life with clarity, intention, and purpose, empowering you to shape your experiences and relationships consciously rather than reactively. Chapter 80: Control stress effectively to make better decisions under pressure. Stress is an inevitable part of life, but the ability to control it effectively is what separates those who make sound decisions under pressure from those who react impulsively and regretfully. Managing stress is not about eliminating it completely, because pressure often accompanies growth and responsibility. Instead, it is about recognizing stress signals early, understanding their impact on your mind and body, and applying strategies that allow you to maintain clarity, composure, and focus in challenging situations. Developing this skill improves decision-making, strengthens resilience, and enhances emotional intelligence, making it essential for both personal and professional success. The first step in controlling stress is recognizing its signs and patterns. Stress manifests not only mentally but also physically and emotionally. Notice changes in your breathing, muscle tension, heart rate, or energy levels. Pay attention to irritability, impatience, or difficulty concentrating, which often indicate mounting stress. Awareness of these signals allows for early intervention before pressure escalates into overwhelming anxiety or rash decisions. Understanding how your body and mind respond to stress is the foundation for effective management. Identifying the sources of stress is equally important. Stress can arise from external circumstances, interpersonal conflicts, workload demands, or internal expectations and self-imposed pressure. Analyzing the root causes allows you to distinguish between controllable and uncontrollable factors. Focusing on what you can influence rather than what you cannot reduces feelings of helplessness and promotes constructive action. This discernment enhances mental clarity and prevents wasted energy on situations beyond your control. Breathing techniques are a practical and immediate method for reducing stress. Deep, deliberate breaths help activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which calms the body and lowers tension. Slow, measured inhalation followed by controlled exhalation can reduce anxiety, improve focus, and restore emotional balance. Consistent practice of breathing exercises provides a reliable tool for maintaining composure in high-pressure situations and enables better cognitive functioning when decisions are required. Physical movement also regulates stress effectively. Exercise releases endorphins, which are natural mood stabilizers, and reduces levels of stress hormones. Even short walks, stretching, or brief physical activity can break the cycle of tension and clear mental clutter. Integrating regular movement into your routine enhances both physical and psychological resilience, making it easier to respond calmly under pressure. Active engagement with your body supports mental clarity and decision-making capacity. Time management and prioritization reduce the stress associated with overwhelming demands. Breaking tasks into manageable steps, setting realistic deadlines, and focusing on high-priority actions prevent the accumulation of pressure. A structured approach minimizes the feeling of being out of control and creates space for thoughtful decision-making. Effective planning ensures that challenges are addressed efficiently, reducing reactive responses that often arise from chaos or confusion. Cognitive reframing is a mental strategy that changes your perception of stressful situations. Instead of viewing stress as a threat, interpret it as a challenge or opportunity for growth. Shifting perspective allows you to focus on solutions rather than problems and fosters a proactive mindset. Reframing also reduces emotional intensity and prevents stress from clouding judgment. By controlling how you interpret circumstances, you maintain composure and approach decisions with clarity and confidence. Mindfulness and meditation practices are powerful tools for managing stress. Mindfulness involves observing thoughts and feelings without judgment, creating space between stimulus and response. Meditation enhances self-awareness, emotional regulation, and focus. Regular practice strengthens the ability to remain centered even when external pressures intensify, allowing decisions to be based on reason rather than reaction. Mindfulness transforms stress from a disruptive force into a manageable aspect of life. Self-talk influences how you experience and respond to stress. Replace negative or catastrophic thoughts with constructive, solution-focused language. Affirmations and rational self-guidance reduce panic, boost confidence, and encourage calm, measured responses. Monitoring internal dialogue ensures that stress does not distort perception or decision-making. Positive self-talk is a mental tool that reinforces control and clarity when pressure is high. Establishing boundaries is essential for reducing unnecessary stress. Recognize when to say no, delegate responsibilities, or limit exposure to high-pressure environments that exceed your capacity. Boundaries preserve mental and emotional energy, allowing you to focus on tasks that align with priorities and goals. Maintaining boundaries demonstrates self-respect and prevents burnout, which is critical for sustaining clear thinking under stress. Preparation and contingency planning strengthen confidence in high-pressure situations. Anticipate potential challenges, outline possible responses, and develop strategies for different scenarios. Preparedness reduces uncertainty, which is a major contributor to stress, and allows for more deliberate, rational decision-making. When you are ready for multiple outcomes, pressure becomes manageable rather than paralyzing, enhancing both effectiveness and resilience. Social support plays a vital role in managing stress. Sharing concerns with trusted friends, family, or colleagues provides perspective, emotional relief, and practical guidance. Supportive relationships offer validation and encouragement, reducing feelings of isolation. Engaging with a network of reliable individuals fosters emotional stability and ensures that stressful situations are approached with balance and clarity. Maintaining healthy lifestyle habits reinforces stress resilience. Adequate sleep, balanced nutrition, and consistent exercise support cognitive function and emotional regulation. Neglecting these fundamentals intensifies stress reactions, impairs judgment, and reduces the ability to respond effectively. A well-maintained body and mind provide the stability required to navigate challenging circumstances without succumbing to overwhelm. Reflection after stressful events enhances learning and preparation for future situations. Analyze what triggered stress, how you responded, and what strategies were effective or ineffective. Reflection builds insight, refines coping mechanisms, and strengthens your capacity for calm decision-making in subsequent situations. Continuous evaluation transforms stress from a reactive challenge into an opportunity for growth and mastery. Developing emotional awareness supports stress management. Recognize your emotional responses to pressure and distinguish between fear, frustration, urgency, or excitement. Understanding emotions allows for conscious regulation rather than reactive behavior. Emotional awareness creates space for deliberate choices, ensuring that decisions are informed by reason rather than impulsive reaction. Visualization techniques help anticipate stressful scenarios and mentally rehearse effective responses. Imagining successful navigation of pressure-filled situations builds confidence and reduces anxiety. Mental rehearsal prepares the mind to act with composure, making actual performance under stress more controlled and effective. Visualization strengthens both psychological resilience and decision-making ability. Implementing problem-solving strategies reduces stress by focusing energy on actionable steps. Break challenges into components, identify solutions, and act deliberately. Avoid ruminating on uncontrollable factors or outcomes. Action-oriented thinking channels stress into productive efforts, enabling clarity and forward movement. Structured problem-solving converts pressure into constructive momentum rather than paralyzing worry. Cultivating patience under stress improves judgment. Allow time to gather information, weigh options, and evaluate consequences before responding. Impulsive reactions often arise from high-pressure conditions, but deliberate pacing promotes accuracy and effectiveness. Patience ensures that decisions are grounded in observation and analysis rather than temporary emotion, enhancing outcomes across personal and professional domains. Finally, integrating these practices consistently builds resilience and mastery over stress. Recognition, mindfulness, preparation, physical activity, cognitive reframing, self-talk, boundaries, support, and reflection create a comprehensive approach. Over time, these strategies become automatic responses, enabling clear thought, calm emotion, and effective action in any high-pressure situation. Mastery of stress control empowers decision-making, strengthens relationships, and enhances overall life satisfaction. Chapter 9. Improve resilience by learning from challenges instead of avoiding them. Resilience is the ability to navigate adversity, recover from setbacks, and continue moving forward with strength and determination. Improving resilience begins with embracing challenges rather than avoiding them, because every difficulty presents an opportunity to grow, learn, and strengthen both mind and character. Avoiding obstacles may provide temporary relief, but it limits growth, leaves skills underdeveloped, and perpetuates fear of uncertainty. True resilience is cultivated by facing discomfort, analyzing experiences, and adapting behavior to improve outcomes. This skill transforms adversity from a threat into a tool for development, enabling you to respond to life's difficulties with confidence and composure. The first step in developing resilience is shifting your mindset to view challenges as opportunities for learning. Each challenge, whether personal, professional, or social, contains lessons that can improve decision-making, emotional intelligence, and problem-solving ability. When confronted with difficulty, pause to ask what can be learned, what skills can be strengthened, and how the situation might be approached differently in the future. This perspective transforms obstacles from sources of stress into catalysts for growth, reducing fear and fostering empowerment. Facing challenges intentionally builds mental fortitude. Avoidance may feel easier in the short term, but confronting discomfort repeatedly strengthens courage and confidence. Start by engaging with manageable challenges and gradually increase complexity. Confronting difficulties head-on develops a pattern of proactive engagement, ensuring that future obstacles are met with composure and determination rather than anxiety and hesitation. Consistent practice in facing adversity creates reliability and confidence in your own ability to adapt and overcome. Reflection is a cornerstone of resilient growth. After encountering a challenge, take time to analyze what occurred, how you responded, and what could have been done differently. Identify the strategies that worked well and those that need improvement. Honest reflection provides clarity, reinforces lessons learned, and creates a blueprint for approaching similar situations more effectively. Reflection ensures that every challenge contributes to your evolving skill set and strengthens adaptive capacity. Learning from setbacks requires emotional regulation. When facing failure or difficulty, emotions such as frustration, disappointment, or fear are natural, but allowing them to dominate behavior can impede growth. Recognize these emotions without judgment and channel them into constructive action. Emotional control enables clear thinking and strategic problem solving, ensuring that responses are thoughtful rather than reactive. Resilience is strengthened when emotions are acknowledged but not allowed to dictate behavior. Building a support system enhances resilience. Sharing experiences with trusted individuals provides perspective, advice, and encouragement. Mentors, peers, friends, and family can offer guidance based on their own encounters with challenges, helping you see solutions and opportunities that may not be immediately apparent. Social support reduces isolation, increases confidence, and reinforces the belief that obstacles can be overcome. Connection with others reinforces the emotional strength required to persist in the face of adversity. Adopting problem-solving strategies is essential in resilient behavior. Break challenges into smaller, manageable components, assess available options, and act strategically. Focusing on actionable steps rather than the magnitude of the difficulty prevents overwhelm and promotes progress. Problem-solving skills develop with repeated exposure to challenges, gradually increasing efficiency, creativity, and adaptability. Each successful solution reinforces self-efficacy, further enhancing resilience. Maintaining flexibility strengthens resilience. Challenges often involve unexpected changes or shifting circumstances. Adapting plans and adjusting expectations in response to new information prevents rigid thinking and reduces frustration. Flexibility allows you to approach problems from multiple angles, consider alternatives, and pivot when necessary. Resilient individuals embrace change rather than resist it, recognizing that adaptability is critical to overcoming obstacles successfully. Building resilience involves setting realistic expectations. Understand that setbacks are a natural part of life and that perfection is neither attainable nor necessary. Accepting that challenges will occur and that mistakes may be made allows you to respond with patience and composure. Realistic expectations reduce disappointment, maintain motivation, and sustain effort over time. When setbacks are viewed as part of the process rather than failures, resilience becomes easier to cultivate. Practicing self-discipline reinforces resilience. Consistently taking constructive action in the face of difficulty, even when motivation is low, builds persistence and reliability. Discipline ensures that challenges are addressed rather than avoided, and that growth is continuous. Daily habits of perseverance strengthen character and create a mindset oriented toward solutions rather than avoidance. Over time, self-discipline becomes a natural companion to resilience, supporting consistent progress. Visualization techniques enhance resilient thinking. Mentally rehearsing the successful navigation of challenging situations prepares the mind for action. Imagining obstacles, planning responses, and anticipating potential setbacks creates readiness and reduces anxiety. Visualization strengthens confidence and reduces fear of failure, making it easier to face challenges directly. Mental preparation ensures that the mind remains calm, focused, and solution-oriented under pressure. Gratitude practices support resilience by fostering perspective. Recognizing areas of progress, resources available, and lessons learned reinforces a positive outlook even during difficult times. Gratitude encourages focus on what can be controlled and appreciated rather than fixating on adversity alone. A positive perspective enhances problem solving, emotional regulation, and perseverance, all of which contribute to stronger resilience in the face of challenges. Incremental exposure to challenges develops tolerance for discomfort. Facing difficulties in small, controlled doses builds confidence, emotional stability, and coping skills. Gradually increasing exposure to adversity strengthens the ability to handle more complex or stressful situations without being overwhelmed. This approach systematically develops resilience, ensuring that responses remain composed and effective when real-life challenges arise. Learning from challenges also involves tracking progress over time. Regularly reviewing past difficulties, decisions, and outcomes helps identify growth, recurring patterns, and areas needing improvement. Tracking progress reinforces self-efficacy, shows tangible results of persistent effort, and motivates continued engagement with challenging situations. Awareness of growth strengthens confidence and reinforces the mindset necessary for resilient behavior. Developing a growth-oriented mindset underpins resilient responses. Embrace the belief that skills, intelligence, and emotional capacity can be developed through effort and learning. Viewing challenges as opportunities to expand abilities encourages persistence and reduces fear of failure. A growth mindset transforms obstacles into exercises for improvement, reinforcing resilience through continuous adaptation and learning. Practicing mindfulness supports resilience by keeping focus on the present moment. Anxiety often arises from projecting into the future or dwelling on past mistakes. Mindfulness enhances clarity, reduces emotional overwhelm, and allows thoughtful, intentional action. By observing circumstances and internal responses objectively, you maintain control and respond effectively, strengthening resilience through calm, deliberate engagement with challenges. Acknowledging personal limits enhances resilient behavior. Recognize when rest, recovery, or support is necessary to maintain effectiveness. Overextending under pressure can lead to burnout, impair decision-making, and reduce long-term capacity to navigate difficulties. Awareness of limits allows for strategic pacing and sustainable effort, ensuring resilience is both effective and enduring. Finally, resilience is cultivated through consistent practice and intentional engagement with challenges. Embracing difficulties, reflecting honestly, regulating emotions, seeking support, problem-solving strategically, adapting flexibly, and maintaining a growth mindset transforms adversity into a tool for development. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to strengthen mental, emotional, and behavioral capacity. Over time, resilience becomes a natural, reliable attribute, enabling confident navigation of life's uncertainties and persistent pursuit of personal and professional goals. Chapter 1: Cultivate patience to respond calmly in tense situations consistently. Patience is one of the most essential skills for navigating life effectively because it allows you to respond rather than react, think clearly under pressure, and maintain control in challenging situations. Cultivating patience is not about suppressing emotions or avoiding action, but about developing the ability to pause, observe, and respond thoughtfully even when circumstances are difficult or tense. Consistent patience improves relationships, decision-making, and emotional intelligence while reducing unnecessary conflict and stress. Developing this skill requires practice, self-awareness, and deliberate effort, but the long-term benefits are profound for both personal growth and professional effectiveness. The first step in cultivating patience is recognizing triggers that provoke impatience. These can be external situations such as traffic, delays, or disagreements, or internal factors like hunger, fatigue, or stress. Observe when your body tenses, your breathing quickens, or your thoughts rush toward irritation or frustration. Awareness of these signals provides an opportunity to intervene before reacting impulsively. Recognizing triggers transforms automatic responses into conscious choices. Mindful breathing is a practical tool to strengthen patience. When you feel tension building, take slow, deep breaths, focusing on the rhythm of inhalation and exhalation. This process calms the nervous system, lowers emotional intensity, and creates space to respond thoughtfully. Incorporating mindful breathing into daily routines ensures that patience becomes a natural response rather than a forced effort. Shifting perspective enhances the ability to remain patient. Instead of fixating on the inconvenience or frustration of a situation, consider the broader context. Ask yourself what is truly important, whether this moment will matter in the long term, and how your response influences outcomes and relationships. Adopting this perspective reduces impulsive reactions and supports measured, composed behavior. Developing patience requires slowing down habitual thought patterns. Often, impatience arises from rushing to conclusions or decisions without fully assessing a situation. Practice pausing before speaking, acting, or judging even for a few seconds to consider alternative approaches or responses. This simple habit interrupts automatic reactions and strengthens self-control. Reflection on past experiences is valuable in cultivating patience. Recall moments when impatience led to negative outcomes or mistakes. Analyze what could have been done differently and how a calm approach might have produced better results. Similarly, identify situations where patience resulted in constructive solutions, improved communication, or strengthened relationships. Learning from experience builds insight and reinforces the importance of patience in daily life. Empathy supports patience by increasing understanding of others. Recognize that people have their own challenges, limitations, and perspectives. Considering their experience encourages compassion, reduces irritation, and allows for thoughtful responses instead of emotional reactions. Empathy shifts focus from personal frustration to collaborative problem solving and mutual respect. Setting realistic expectations is essential for maintaining patience. Overly ambitious demands, rigid timelines, or unrealistic assumptions create unnecessary pressure and increase the likelihood of impatience. Align expectations with circumstances and allow flexibility for delays or imperfections. Realistic expectations reduce stress, improve tolerance, and facilitate calm responses even in tense situations. Practicing active listening enhances patience during interactions. Fully attend to what others are saying without interrupting, formulating a response prematurely, or dismissing their perspective. Listening attentively creates a pause in reactive behavior and allows for thoughtful engagement. Active listening fosters understanding, reduces conflict, and strengthens the ability to respond with calm and clarity. Self-awareness is crucial for sustaining patience. Monitor internal emotional states, recognize the signs of rising frustration, and identify personal tendencies toward haste or irritation. Awareness allows for timely intervention through conscious choices such as deep breathing, reframing thoughts, or pausing before acting. Patience develops when self-observation guides intentional action rather than reactive behavior. Cognitive reframing helps maintain patience by adjusting how situations are perceived. Instead of interpreting a delay or conflict as a problem, view it as an opportunity to practice self-control, think creatively, or strengthen relationships. Reframing changes emotional responses, reduces tension, and supports calm, measured decision-making. A shift in perspective reinforces long-term habit formation for patience. Deliberate practice of patience in small daily interactions strengthens resilience over time. Use opportunities such as waiting in line, listening to others, or handling minor frustrations to train calm responses. Each small instance of controlled behavior compounds into a reliable skill that is available in higher stress situations. Gradual, consistent practice ensures that patience becomes second nature. Visualization techniques support patience development by mentally rehearsing challenging scenarios and imagining calm, constructive responses. Anticipating stressful situations and planning measured reactions enhances confidence and reduces anxiety. Visualization strengthens the mind's capacity to maintain composure, making real-world application more effective and natural. Physical and mental self-care reinforces patience. Adequate rest, proper nutrition, and exercise stabilize energy levels and emotional balance. When the body and mind are well supported, tolerance for stress improves, making it easier to remain calm under pressure. Self-care creates a foundation for consistent patient behavior and emotional regulation. Problem-solving strategies also enhance patience. Break complex challenges into manageable steps, address one aspect at a time, and avoid rushing to immediate solutions. Structured approaches reduce feelings of overwhelm and support deliberate, thoughtful responses. Patience is cultivated when action is intentional, measured, and focused rather than reactive. Accountability strengthens patience by encouraging ownership of behavior, Recognize when impatience leads to poor decisions or strained relationships, and take responsibility for improving responses. Accountability fosters consistent practice, reflection, and reinforcement of calm behavior. Over time, ownership of reactions builds self-discipline and emotional control. Practicing gratitude enhances tolerance for delayed outcomes and challenging circumstances. Focusing on what is going well and what is within control reduces frustration and strengthens resilience. Gratitude shifts attention from what is lacking to what is present, supporting patience and calm engagement with circumstances. Engaging in meditation or mindfulness exercises reinforces long-term patience. Daily practice trains attention, emotional regulation, and presence, making it easier to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully in tense moments. Meditation develops clarity, perspective, and self-control, ensuring that responses remain constructive and composed. Recognizing impermanence supports patience by reminding you that challenging situations and emotional reactions are temporary. Viewing moments of tension as passing allows for tolerance, composure, and measured responses. Understanding that pressure is fleeting reduces urgency, frustration, and impulsivity, encouraging calm and deliberate engagement. Finally, cultivating patience requires consistent effort and intentional practice. Incorporating mindfulness, reflection, empathy, self-awareness, realistic expectations, active listening, reframing, problem-solving, gratitude, visualization, and self-care ensures that calm responses become habitual. Over time, patience becomes an integral part of emotional intelligence, allowing for clear thought, measured action, and improved relationships in every tense or challenging situation. Mastery of patience empowers you to navigate life with composure, insight, and consistent effectiveness. Chapter 11. Practice gratitude daily to boost happiness and emotional stability naturally. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools for cultivating happiness, emotional stability, and resilience. Practicing it daily rewires the mind to focus on what is present, valuable, and positive, rather than what is lacking or stressful. It is not about ignoring challenges or pretending that difficulties do not exist, but about consciously choosing to recognize and appreciate the aspects of life that support well-being, growth, and connection. Daily gratitude transforms perspective, reduces emotional turbulence, and fosters a sense of contentment that strengthens both personal and professional life. The first step in developing a gratitude practice is observing moments that inspire appreciation. These can be small, such as a warm cup of tea, a kind word from a friend, or a quiet moment of reflection, or larger, like achieving a goal, receiving support, or overcoming a challenge. Actively noticing these moments trains the mind to seek positive experiences, reinforcing attention to what brings value and meaning. Awareness alone shifts perception, laying the groundwork for emotional balance. Journaling is a highly effective method for embedding gratitude into daily life. Set aside time each day to write down things you are grateful for, ranging from tangible objects to experiences, people, or personal qualities. Specificity matters. Instead of noting general statements, detail why these aspects are meaningful and how they impact your life. This process strengthens reflection, enhances emotional recognition, and creates a record of positivity to revisit during difficult moments. Gratitude exercises can also include verbal expression. Take time to communicate appreciation to others directly. A sincere acknowledgement of someone's effort, support, or presence not only strengthens relationships, but also reinforces your own sense of value and connection. Speaking gratitude aloud solidifies the emotional impact and creates a ripple effect, encouraging kindness, collaboration, and empathy in your social environment. Mindful reflection amplifies the benefits of gratitude. At the beginning or end of the day, pause to consider moments that brought satisfaction, comfort, or joy. Reflect on how these moments contributed to your growth, emotional stability, or relationships. This mindful approach deepens awareness and helps anchor positive experiences, preventing them from being overlooked amidst daily pressures and distractions. Gratitude strengthens emotional stability by reducing focus on negative experiences. When attention is shifted toward what is present and valuable, the intensity of stress, anxiety, or frustration diminishes. Repeated practice trains the brain to balance perception, reducing emotional reactivity and supporting more consistent, grounded responses to challenges. The habit of seeing what is good nurtures resilience and encourages calm decision-making. Incorporating gratitude into routine actions enhances its effectiveness. Simple practices, such as mentally noting 3 positive things upon waking or before sleeping, pausing to appreciate the taste of food, or acknowledging a helpful gesture during interactions, create habitual recognition of value. Over time, this attention to gratitude becomes automatic, shaping mindset and emotional patterns naturally rather than requiring conscious effort each time. Gratitude also improves perspective by highlighting abundance rather than scarcity. Recognizing what is already available in life diminishes feelings of lack and dissatisfaction, promoting contentment and optimism. This shift in perspective strengthens motivation, enhances interpersonal interactions, and reduces envy, frustration, or comparison. When the mind appreciates current resources and relationships, emotional equilibrium is easier to maintain. Gratitude can be paired with reflection on challenges to enhance personal growth. Even in adversity, identifying elements to be grateful for, such as lessons learned, supportive people, or small victories, reinforces resilience. This practice encourages a constructive mindset, where difficulties are not solely burdens but opportunities for appreciation and insight. Focusing on what is gained rather than only what is lost fosters emotional balance and adaptability. Physical awareness complements gratitude practice by engaging the senses, noticing the warmth of sunlight, the aroma of a meal, or the feeling of a comfortable chair anchors attention to the present moment and encourages appreciation of simple pleasures. Sensory acknowledgement reinforces the connection between environment and emotional experience, increasing mindfulness and deepening the effects of gratitude. Routine reminders strengthen consistency in practicing gratitude. Visual cues, alarms, or sticky notes can prompt reflection throughout the day. Technology, such as journaling apps or reminder notifications, helps maintain continuity even in busy or stressful periods. Structured reminders ensure that gratitude remains a central habit rather than an occasional or sporadic activity, reinforcing long-term benefits. Integrating gratitude into problem-solving supports constructive responses to challenges. Recognizing what is available, what lessons can be learned, or what support exists reduces stress and encourages clear thinking. This approach reframes difficulties, transforming them into opportunities for growth rather than triggers for frustration. Gratitude thus serves as both an emotional stabilizer and a practical tool for effective action. Gratitude strengthens relationships by increasing recognition and appreciation of others' contributions. Expressing sincere thanks fosters trust, cooperation, and connection. People respond positively to acknowledgement, and these interactions create a mutually reinforcing cycle of support, respect, and emotional warmth. Regular appreciation builds social bonds, which in turn enhance emotional stability and overall satisfaction. Developing gratitude requires self-awareness to identify areas of value that might be overlooked. Monitor thoughts, emotions, and experiences to notice what brings genuine satisfaction or comfort. Awareness ensures that gratitude is authentic and impactful, rather than superficial or perfunctory. Honest recognition of meaningful aspects of life reinforces emotional depth and stability. Visualization amplifies gratitude by mentally rehearsing appreciation for experiences, people, or personal achievements. Imagining positive interactions, supportive moments, or personal strengths creates emotional resonance that strengthens mindset. Visualization enhances the brain's perception of value and reinforces consistent positive emotional patterns, supporting happiness and stability in daily life. Consistency is key for long-term benefits. Daily engagement with gratitude, whether through writing, verbal expression, reflection, or sensory acknowledgement, gradually rewires the mind to notice and value positive aspects of life automatically. Over time, emotional stability, satisfaction, and resilience are strengthened, making patience, empathy, and clarity easier to maintain in all situations. Gratitude also improves focus by reducing preoccupation with negativity, worry, or distraction. Concentrating on what is beneficial and meaningful directs mental energy toward productive, solution-oriented thought. This clarity supports decision-making, emotional regulation, and interpersonal interactions, creating a feedback loop where positivity enhances effectiveness in multiple areas of life. Finally, practicing gratitude cultivates a mindset of abundance and intentional presence. Each day becomes an opportunity to recognize value, appreciate progress, and strengthen emotional resilience. Over time, daily gratitude reinforces overall well-being, supports balanced emotional responses, and enhances happiness naturally. The habit of recognizing and acknowledging what is meaningful transforms perception, behavior, and relationships, creating a sustainable foundation for personal growth, satisfaction, and emotional intelligence. Chapter 12. Expand emotional vocabulary to communicate your feelings accurately and effectively. Communicating emotions effectively begins with understanding them deeply and having the vocabulary to describe them accurately. Expanding your emotional vocabulary allows you to express feelings with precision rather than relying on vague or generalized terms such as happy, sad, or angry. When emotions are articulated clearly, it improves self-awareness, strengthens relationships, and reduces misunderstandings. It also provides clarity in decision-making, because the ability to identify subtle nuances in how you feel informs your responses and actions. Developing this skill is a cornerstone of emotional intelligence and supports both personal and professional growth. The first step in expanding your emotional vocabulary is becoming aware of the range of emotions you experience daily. Many people overlook the complexity of their feelings, labeling diverse experiences with broad terms. Observe subtle shifts in mood, physical sensations, and mental states throughout the day. Ask yourself what specific emotion is present, whether it is frustration, disappointment, excitement, anticipation, or contentment. Recognizing these distinctions is the foundation for expressing them accurately and intentionally. Journaling is an effective way to explore and expand emotional vocabulary. Set aside time each day to record experiences and identify the emotions associated with them. Instead of writing, "I felt bad today," try to capture the precise feeling such as, "I felt anxious, overwhelmed, and uncertain." Use descriptive words that capture intensity, nuance, and context. Over time, this practice strengthens awareness, enriches vocabulary, and creates a personal reference for future reflection. Reading and exposure to diverse language can also enhance emotional vocabulary. Literature, psychology books, and essays often introduce terms for specific feelings that you may not have previously considered. Observing how writers articulate emotions provides insight into subtle distinctions between feelings and allows you to incorporate these words into your own communication. Exposure to varied vocabulary improves both understanding and articulation of your inner experience. Practicing verbal expression in daily interactions reinforces vocabulary and emotional clarity. Begin by naming emotions during conversations with trusted individuals. Clearly stating what you feel encourages constructive dialogue and prevents misinterpretation. For example, saying, "I feel frustrated because I feel unheard," is more precise and effective than simply stating, "I'm upset." Accurate expression reduces conflict, strengthens empathy, and fosters mutual understanding. Developing a habit of checking in with yourself supports emotional clarity. Pause during the day to ask, "What exactly am I feeling right now?" Observe physical sensations, thoughts, and impulses. Labeling emotions internally before responding externally enhances self-control and ensures that actions are aligned with genuine feelings. Self-monitoring strengthens both emotional intelligence and communication skills over time. Identifying triggers and patterns enhances the usefulness of an expanded emotional vocabulary. When you understand what situations provoke specific emotional responses, you can describe them more clearly and anticipate your reactions. For example, recognizing that tight deadlines trigger anxiety, irritability, or restlessness allows you to communicate effectively about your needs or seek support proactively. Awareness of patterns also supports personal growth and informed decision-making. Synonyms and gradations of emotional terms allow for precision. Recognize differences between similar feelings such as irritation versus anger, worry versus fear, or contentment versus satisfaction. Using specific terms reduces ambiguity and ensures that both you and others understand the intensity and nature of your experience. Precision enhances clarity in communication and reduces assumptions that often cause tension in relationships. Body awareness complements emotional vocabulary. Emotions are often accompanied by physical sensations such as tension, heat, cold, or tightness. Observing these signals and linking them to precise emotional terms reinforces understanding and articulation. For example, noticing a tight jaw and shallow breathing might correspond with anxiety or stress, allowing you to describe feelings accurately and respond effectively. Mind-body awareness strengthens overall emotional intelligence. Role-playing and practicing articulation in hypothetical situations improve expressive ability. Consider scenarios that might evoke strong feelings and rehearse how to describe them clearly. This can be done alone or with a partner, focusing on naming feelings precisely and explaining their cause and impact. Practicing communication in a safe environment builds confidence and skill for real-life interactions, ensuring that responses are deliberate and constructive. Active listening enhances emotional vocabulary by exposing you to how others articulate feelings. Pay attention to how friends, colleagues, or mentors describe their emotions. Note the words they use and the distinctions they make between similar experiences. Learning from others broadens your own vocabulary and helps you understand diverse emotional perspectives, which strengthens empathy and interpersonal effectiveness. Combining emotional words with context enhances communication. Emotions do not exist in isolation. They are connected to situations, thoughts, and reactions. Expressing both what you feel and why provides depth and clarity. For example, I feel nervous because I am unprepared for the meeting. Communicates both emotion and reason, which improves understanding and problem-solving in social and professional contexts. Developing emotional vocabulary encourages self-reflection and insight. By articulating subtle distinctions between feelings, you uncover underlying needs, values, and desires. For instance, distinguishing between feeling overwhelmed and feeling undervalued reveals different internal priorities, guiding appropriate responses and constructive action. Reflection deepens emotional intelligence and aligns behavior with authentic needs. Gratitude and positive emotion vocabulary are equally important. Identifying and describing feelings such as joy, pride, admiration, and serenity fosters positive focus and reinforces emotional balance. Recognizing positive experiences in precise terms encourages more nuanced appreciation and supports mental well-being. Expressing positive emotions accurately also strengthens relationships and enhances social connection. Consistency and daily practice solidify emotional vocabulary. Integrate descriptive words into routine reflections, conversations, and journaling. Over time, this creates a natural habit of precise articulation, improving both self-awareness and interpersonal communication. The ability to express emotion with clarity becomes automatic, reducing misunderstandings and fostering emotional stability. Visualization can enhance vocabulary by mentally rehearsing scenarios and identifying possible feelings with nuanced descriptors. Imagine challenging or significant situations and explore the spectrum of emotions they may elicit. Practicing mental articulation builds confidence and readiness for actual experiences, ensuring that emotional expression is deliberate, accurate, and effective. Feedback from trusted individuals improves emotional communication skills. Encourage constructive input on whether your descriptions are clear and accurately convey your inner experience. Feedback provides external perspective and highlights areas for refinement, ensuring continuous growth. Collaboration and observation enhance both personal insight and social effectiveness. Finally, expanding emotional vocabulary strengthens overall emotional intelligence. Accurate expression of feelings fosters self-awareness, empathy, resilience, and constructive interaction. It allows you to navigate complex social dynamics, reduce misunderstandings, and respond thoughtfully to challenges. Over time, a rich emotional vocabulary supports both inner clarity and external harmony, enabling consistent, intentional, and effective communication that improves relationships, decision-making, and personal growth. Chapter 13. Challenge negative thoughts to maintain positive and constructive mindset always. Negative thoughts have a way of shaping reality, because the mind reacts to what it believes, not necessarily what is true. Left unchecked, they create patterns of self-doubt, anxiety, and inaction, undermining emotional stability and personal growth. Challenging these thoughts is not about denying reality, but about examining beliefs critically, replacing distortion with clarity, and taking control over how you interpret and respond to situations. Doing so develops resilience, improves decision-making, and supports a constructive mindset that guides actions towards solutions rather than problems. This skill is central to emotional intelligence because it transforms internal dialogue into a tool for growth rather than a source of limitation. The first step in challenging negative thoughts is noticing them as they arise. Often, they occur automatically and go unexamined, creating mental loops that reinforce fear, frustration, or hopelessness. Develop the habit of pausing when you sense tension, irritation, or anxiety. Observe the thought carefully and acknowledge its presence without immediately accepting it as fact. Awareness alone disrupts the automatic cycle and allows the mind to evaluate its accuracy. Once negative thoughts are recognized, analyze them critically. Ask whether the thought is based on evidence, whether it is a generalization, or whether it assumes the worst without justification. Identifying cognitive distortions such as exaggeration, overgeneralization, or catastrophizing clarifies the difference between perception and reality. Questioning the validity of thoughts strengthens rational thinking and reduces unnecessary emotional reactivity. Reframing thoughts is a key tool in maintaining a positive mindset. Replace self-critical or pessimistic thoughts with constructive alternatives. For example, change "I can't do this" to "This is challenging, but I can take small steps and learn." Reframing does not ignore difficulty, it shifts focus from helplessness to capability. This mental adjustment reinforces confidence, motivation, and proactive problem solving. Documenting negative thoughts and countering them in writing deepens understanding. Journaling helps identify recurring patterns and themes, revealing triggers and areas where emotional responses may need adjustment. After recording a negative thought, write a reasoned response that challenges its validity and presents a constructive perspective. This practice strengthens self-awareness, encourages disciplined reflection, and provides a tangible resource for future challenges. Mindfulness supports challenging negative thoughts by keeping attention anchored in the present moment. Many destructive thoughts are projections of past failures or imagined future disasters. Mindfulness enables observation without judgment, allowing thoughts to pass without defining behavior. Training the mind to focus on present reality reduces rumination and promotes calm, deliberate responses that maintain a constructive mindset. Replacing negative thoughts with actionable strategies enhances emotional intelligence. When worry or doubt arises, identify practical steps to address the issue rather than dwelling on imagined outcomes. Breaking problems into manageable tasks shifts attention from pessimism to productivity. Action-oriented thinking prevents stagnation and fosters a sense of control, reinforcing a positive internal dialogue. Positive self-talk strengthens the habit of challenging negativity. Speak internally with encouragement, reassurance, and realistic assessment of your abilities and circumstances. Replace harsh judgment with constructive observation, emphasizing effort, learning, and growth. Repeated practice reinforces neural pathways that favor optimism and resilience, gradually making a positive and constructive mindset automatic. Exposure to uplifting and informative content supports mental reframing. Engaging with books, talks, or educational material that promote growth, understanding, and problem-solving strengthens belief in personal capability. This external reinforcement complements internal efforts, providing examples of resilience, adaptability, and constructive thinking. External input aligns with intentional thought practices, sustaining positive mental patterns. Social interaction can help counter negative thought loops. Share concerns with trusted individuals who provide perspective, support, and constructive feedback. Others can highlight evidence contrary to self-critical beliefs and encourage alternative interpretations of challenges. Communication reinforces rational thinking, increases emotional insight, and supports mindset adjustments in real time. Cognitive restructuring is an advanced method for maintaining a constructive mindset. Identify recurring negative patterns, examine the assumptions behind them, and deliberately replace them with more balanced and realistic beliefs. This systematic approach ensures that thought patterns are not merely suppressed, but fundamentally shifted toward accuracy, adaptability, and optimism. Regular practice strengthens mental resilience and emotional stability. Physical awareness complements cognitive work by highlighting the connection between body and mind. Negative thoughts often trigger tension, rapid heartbeat, or shallow breathing. Observing these responses provides early signals of mental patterns that require attention. Engaging in deliberate breathing, relaxation, or mindful movement interrupts the physiological feedback loop and supports clear, rational responses. Gratitude practices reinforce the challenge against negativity. By focusing on what is valuable, functioning well, or progressing positively, attention shifts from problems to solutions and strengths. Recognition of achievement, connection, or support counterbalances internal criticism and promotes mental equilibrium. Gratitude creates a fertile environment for constructive thought and emotional stability. Incremental exposure to challenging situations strengthens confidence and reduces negative thinking. When you approach difficulties gradually, evaluate responses, and succeed in managing them, mental evidence accumulates that supports capability. These experiences provide factual counterpoints to self-limiting beliefs, reinforcing rational assessment over automatic pessimism. Visualization techniques enhance the process by mentally rehearsing success, problem-solving, or calm responses to previously challenging situations. Imagining positive outcomes and effective strategies creates familiarity, reduces anxiety, and strengthens belief in personal efficacy. Mental rehearsal complements real-world experience, reinforcing constructive internal dialogue. Consistency and discipline are critical for long-term effectiveness. Challenging negative thoughts is not a one-time effort, but an ongoing practice embedded in daily life. Set aside intentional time for reflection, journaling, and mindfulness to maintain awareness and refine techniques. Continuous engagement ensures that positive, constructive thinking becomes habitual rather than intermittent. Emotional regulation is reinforced when negative thoughts are challenged. By addressing thoughts deliberately, emotional responses become measured rather than impulsive. Anger, fear, or frustration are acknowledged and transformed into productive energy for problem solving and adaptation. Emotional control enables effective decision-making and stable interpersonal relationships even under stress. Self-compassion supports this process by reducing harsh judgment when negativity arises. Accept that negative thoughts are a natural part of human cognition and that the ability to manage them improves over time. Treat yourself with the same understanding you would offer to a friend, encouraging patience, reflection, and consistent practice. Self-compassion reinforces resilience and the maintenance of a constructive mindset. Finally, challenging negative thoughts requires integration into everyday life. Recognize patterns, question assumptions, reframe interpretations, focus on actionable steps, reinforce with gratitude, maintain mindfulness, and practice self-compassion consistently. Over time, this process strengthens a positive and constructive mindset, enhances emotional intelligence, and enables thoughtful, deliberate responses to challenges. Mental clarity, improved relationships, and sustained personal growth become natural outcomes of this disciplined approach. Chapter 14. Foster accountability by taking responsibility for your choices and actions. Accountability is the foundation of personal growth, self-respect, and consistent achievement. Taking responsibility for choices and actions means acknowledging both successes and failures without shifting blame or avoiding consequences. It empowers individuals to learn, adapt, and improve while fostering trust and respect in relationships. When accountability becomes a daily practice, it strengthens discipline, emotional intelligence, and resilience, allowing a person to respond intentionally rather than reactively. Cultivating this mindset transforms challenges into opportunities for growth and ensures that decisions are aligned with values, goals, and long-term vision. The first step in fostering accountability is honest self-reflection. Take time to review daily actions, decisions, and outcomes without judgment or excuses. Identify where your choices led to positive results and where they caused problems or setbacks. This practice requires courage because it exposes areas for improvement, but it is necessary for genuine progress. Honest assessment ensures that lessons are learned, patterns are recognized, and growth becomes possible. Acknowledging mistakes promptly reinforces accountability. When errors occur, admit them rather than deflecting responsibility or rationalizing behavior. This immediate acknowledgement prevents compounding issues and demonstrates integrity. Taking ownership of mistakes allows you to correct course, repair relationships, and gain respect from others while reinforcing personal discipline and self-awareness. Set clear intentions and goals for your actions. Knowing what you want to achieve and why provides a framework for evaluating choices and maintaining responsibility. Goals act as a benchmark, allowing you to measure performance, recognize deviation, and adjust behavior. Intentional planning increases accountability by making the connection between decisions and desired outcomes explicit and measurable. Track commitments and follow through consistently. Whether personal or professional, commitments are promises to yourself or others. Keeping them strengthens credibility and self-discipline, while failing to honor commitments creates internal conflict and diminishes trust. Record and monitor obligations, deadlines, and milestones to maintain clarity and reinforce the habit of accountability. Seek feedback actively to maintain perspective. Trusted mentors, colleagues, or friends provide objective insight into your decisions and actions. Accept constructive criticism openly, consider alternative viewpoints, and integrate lessons into future behavior. Feedback illuminates blind spots, challenges assumptions, and ensures that accountability is grounded in reality rather than subjective perception. Develop decision-making awareness. Recognize that every choice carries consequences, both immediate and long-term. Consider options carefully, evaluate potential outcomes, and take ownership of the selected path. Awareness of the impact of decisions strengthens responsibility, reduces impulsivity, and aligns actions with values and objectives. Each deliberate choice reinforces a sense of control and personal empowerment. Documenting actions and outcomes is an effective accountability practice. Keeping a journal or log of decisions, responses, and results creates a record for reflection and improvement. Analyze patterns over time to identify strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities for adjustment. This tangible record provides clarity, reinforces discipline, and supports continuous personal and professional development. Establishing routines encourages consistent accountability. Regular practices such as planning daily tasks, reviewing goals, and reflecting on performance create a structure for responsible action. Consistency prevents neglect, reduces errors, and develops habits that support long-term growth. Routines embed accountability into everyday life, making it automatic rather than occasional. Learn to accept consequences without resistance. Responsibility is incomplete if it is accompanied by resentment or avoidance of outcomes. Accepting consequences calmly allows for correction, learning, and emotional regulation. Facing results honestly reinforces integrity, demonstrates maturity, and supports resilience in the face of challenges. Consequences become opportunities for growth rather than sources of regret or avoidance. Emphasize proactive problem solving. When mistakes or challenges arise, identify actionable steps to address them immediately. Reactive blame undermines accountability, while constructive action reinforces control and competence. Proactive behavior transforms responsibility into empowerment, ensuring that obstacles become manageable and that learning is maximized. Align accountability with personal values and principles. Decisions and actions rooted in integrity and purpose strengthen commitment to responsibility. When behavior is consistent with values, accountability is not a burden but a reflection of self-respect and ethical clarity. Values serve as a compass, guiding actions and supporting decision-making under pressure or uncertainty. Build resilience through accountability. Facing challenges, acknowledging errors, and responding with solutions develops mental toughness. Accountability reduces avoidance, encourages problem solving, and nurtures confidence in navigating adversity. The practice of owning actions prepares the mind to handle future difficulties with clarity, patience, and composure. Model accountability in relationships. Demonstrating responsibility in interactions encourages trust, collaboration, and respect. Be transparent about intentions, admit mistakes, and follow through on commitments. When others witness consistent accountability, it fosters reciprocal behavior, strengthens connections, and supports effective teamwork. Leading by example reinforces personal integrity and social credibility simultaneously. Combine accountability with reflection. Periodically evaluate patterns of behavior, decisions, and their effects on goals and relationships. Reflection allows for insight into areas needing improvement, helps adjust strategies, and reinforces lessons learned. Continuous self-evaluation strengthens self-awareness, reduces repeated errors, and ensures that responsibility evolves into a skillful habit. Use accountability to enhance problem-solving skills. By taking full ownership of issues, you engage fully in generating solutions rather than deflecting responsibility. This approach improves creativity, resourcefulness, and strategic thinking. Ownership encourages commitment to outcomes and ensures that efforts are directed toward meaningful resolution rather than excuses or avoidance. Encourage accountability in team environments. Foster a culture where each individual takes responsibility for contributions and outcomes. Clear expectations, open communication, and shared standards promote collective responsibility. When accountability is normalized socially, individuals are motivated to uphold commitments, support collaboration, and maintain high standards of performance. Practice self-discipline to reinforce accountability. Establish boundaries, prioritize tasks, and follow through on commitments even when motivation wanes. Discipline ensures consistency in behavior and decision-making, reinforcing the reliability of actions and the integrity of intentions. A disciplined approach converts accountability from a conceptual idea into daily practice. Celebrate progress while maintaining responsibility. Recognize achievements resulting from deliberate, accountable actions, but continue to own areas needing improvement. Balanced acknowledgement sustains motivation, reinforces commitment to growth, and prevents complacency. Accountability is strengthened by pairing recognition with ongoing responsibility for continuous learning and performance. Finally, integrate accountability as a core aspect of personal and professional life. Own every choice, reflect on actions, accept consequences, follow through on commitments, seek feedback, and align behavior with values consistently. Over time, this practice strengthens integrity, emotional intelligence, resilience, and self-confidence. By fostering accountability, every decision and action becomes an opportunity for growth, learning, and meaningful impact, creating a life of clarity, responsibility, and purpose. Chapter 15v. Encourage open communication to create stronger and healthier connections. Open communication is the cornerstone of meaningful relationships, personal growth, and effective collaboration. Encouraging it requires creating an environment where honesty, clarity, and active listening are valued and practiced consistently. When communication is open, misunderstandings are minimized, trust is strengthened, and connections deepen both personally and professionally. It allows individuals to express thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment, promotes empathy, and ensures that needs and expectations are understood. Developing this skill improves emotional intelligence, enhances problem-solving, and fosters stronger bonds in every aspect of life. The first step in encouraging open communication is creating psychological safety. People are only willing to share thoughts and feelings when they feel respected and heard. Demonstrate patience, attentiveness, and non-judgment when others speak. Respond with validation rather than immediate correction or criticism. When individuals sense that their words are valued, they are more likely to contribute honestly and thoughtfully, creating an environment of mutual trust and cooperation. Active listening is essential to fostering open dialogue. Listen with full attention, focusing not only on the words, but also on tone, body language, and emotional cues. Avoid interrupting or formulating responses while the other person is speaking. Paraphrase and summarize what is heard to ensure understanding. This practice conveys respect, reinforces clarity, and encourages continued sharing, making communication more productive and meaningful. Clarity in expression supports openness. Use precise language to convey thoughts and feelings clearly, avoiding vague statements or assumptions. Articulate needs, desires, and concerns in a straightforward manner. Clear communication reduces misunderstandings and allows others to respond effectively. When individuals model clarity, it encourages reciprocal transparency, making exchanges more authentic and constructive. Encouraging questions and curiosity strengthens communication. Invite others to ask for clarification, share perspectives, or explore ideas further. Respond thoughtfully to inquiries, demonstrating interest and willingness to engage. Curiosity promotes a culture of exploration and understanding, expanding insight and deepening relationships. It also ensures that conversations remain dynamic, inclusive, and productive. Empathy plays a critical role in supporting open communication. Seek to understand the emotions and motivations behind words. Recognize that perspectives vary based on experiences, values, and context. Reflect understanding through verbal and non-verbal cues, signaling that others are heard and respected. Empathetic engagement fosters trust, encourages honesty, and enhances emotional connection, making dialogue more meaningful and constructive. Consistency is important for maintaining an open communication culture. Encourage dialogue regularly rather than waiting for crises or conflicts to arise. Establish routines such as check-ins, feedback sessions, or reflective conversations to reinforce the habit of sharing. Predictable opportunities for dialogue reduce anxiety, normalize discussion of both successes and challenges, and build confidence in expressing ideas openly. Transparency strengthens trust and openness. Share information, intentions, and rationale behind decisions when appropriate. Providing context ensures that individuals understand the bigger picture and feel included. Transparency demonstrates integrity and reduces speculation or assumptions, creating an environment where communication is direct, honest, and collaborative. Non-verbal cues enhance open communication by reinforcing or clarifying messages. Maintain appropriate eye contact, gestures, posture, and facial expressions that signal engagement and respect. Be mindful of tone and pacing, as these elements significantly impact how messages are received. Aligning verbal and non-verbal communication ensures consistency, builds trust, and reduces misinterpretation. Encouraging feedback is an effective tool for open communication. Invite opinions, perspectives, and constructive criticism. Respond to feedback without defensiveness, showing appreciation for honesty and insight. Incorporating feedback into decisions and actions demonstrates that communication has tangible value, reinforcing willingness to share and contributing to a culture of continuous improvement. Conflict can be approached constructively through open communication. Address disagreements promptly, focusing on issues rather than personal attacks. Encourage all parties to articulate their perspectives, validate feelings, and collaboratively explore solutions. Open dialogue during conflicts prevents escalation, strengthens problem solving, and fosters mutual understanding, reinforcing the foundation of healthy relationships. Establishing boundaries while promoting openness ensures respect and safety. Encourage sharing while clarifying limits regarding sensitive topics, timing, or emotional intensity. Boundaries maintain balance, prevent overwhelm, and ensure that dialogue remains productive rather than destructive. Clear boundaries support sustainable open communication and emotional well-being for all involved. Practice vulnerability to model open communication. Share thoughts, challenges, or uncertainties honestly while maintaining appropriate discretion. Demonstrating vulnerability signals trust in others and encourages reciprocal openness. When vulnerability is modeled consistently, it normalizes honest expression, strengthens connection, and deepens understanding within relationships. Active problem-solving supports open dialogue by focusing on constructive outcomes rather than blame. When issues arise, guide conversations toward solutions while validating concerns. Encourage brainstorming, collaboration, and mutual input. This approach maintains engagement, reinforces accountability, and ensures that communication contributes to growth, learning, and relationship development. Appreciation and acknowledgement enhance open communication. Recognize when individuals share openly, contribute ideas, or provide insight. Express gratitude for honesty, effort, and participation. Acknowledgement reinforces positive behavior, encourages continued engagement, and strengthens relational bonds, creating a cycle where communication is consistently valued and respected. Reflection strengthens the effectiveness of open communication. After discussions, evaluate what was shared, how it was received, and what could be improved. Self-reflection ensures that listening, response, and follow-up remain intentional and aligned with relationship goals. Reflection fosters continual refinement of communication habits, supporting long-term connection and understanding. Encourage inclusivity in conversations. Ensure that all voices are heard, respected, and considered, regardless of position, experience, or perspective. Inclusivity promotes diversity of thought, prevents dominance by a few voices, and strengthens collaboration. When people feel included, they are more likely to communicate openly, contribute ideas, and engage constructively. Balance listening and speaking to maintain effective dialogue. Provide space for others to express themselves fully before responding. Share thoughts and perspectives clearly without monopolizing conversation. This balance ensures that communication is dynamic, equitable, and mutually reinforcing, supporting both understanding and relationship growth. Maintain integrity in all communication. Ensure that what is said aligns with intentions, values, and actions. Honesty builds credibility, trust, and reliability, creating a foundation for ongoing open dialogue. Integrity reduces miscommunication, strengthens emotional connections, and supports consistent, meaningful interaction over time. Finally, integrate open communication as a consistent practice in everyday life. Encourage honesty, model vulnerability, actively listen, provide clarity, invite feedback, reflect regularly, and reinforce trust consistently. Over time, this approach fosters stronger and healthier relationships, increases emotional intelligence, and supports personal and professional growth. Open communication becomes a natural habit, transforming interactions into opportunities for connection, understanding, and collaboration while cultivating an environment where dialogue empowers, enlightens, and strengthens bonds. Chapter 16. Strengthen social skills by practicing collaboration and teamwork intentionally. Social skills are essential for personal fulfillment, professional success, and meaningful relationships, and they are strengthened through deliberate collaboration and teamwork. Practicing these skills intentionally involves more than simply participating in group activities. It requires conscious effort to engage, communicate, and contribute constructively in ways that benefit both the individual and the team. Social intelligence allows people to navigate diverse personalities, manage conflicts, and build mutual respect, ultimately creating environments where cooperation and achievement thrive. Developing these abilities strengthens emotional intelligence, deepens connections, and enhances problem-solving capabilities in all areas of life. The first step in strengthening social skills through collaboration is becoming fully present in group interactions. Focus on listening carefully to each participant, observing verbal and non-verbal cues, and processing the information before responding. Being fully attentive demonstrates respect, fosters trust, and allows you to understand the needs, motivations, and perspectives of others. Presence is the foundation for effective communication and intentional teamwork. Active participation is critical in developing social competence. Contribute ideas, ask clarifying questions, and offer solutions when appropriate. Participation signals engagement and reinforces your role as a committed and reliable team member. It also provides opportunities to practice expressing thoughts clearly, adapting to group dynamics, and influencing outcomes constructively. Develop empathy as a central component of teamwork. Recognize the feelings, perspectives, and priorities of others and consider them when making decisions or offering suggestions. Empathy allows for more harmonious interactions, reduces conflicts, and encourages cooperation. Understanding and valuing different viewpoints promotes respect and strengthens social bonds within any collaborative environment. Effective communication is essential for collaboration. Speak clearly, concisely, and with intent, ensuring that your contributions are understood. Use language that is inclusive and constructive, avoiding judgment or criticism that can create tension. Practice both verbal and non-verbal communication to convey openness, reliability, and professionalism. Good communication ensures that tasks, expectations, and ideas are shared efficiently, minimizing misunderstandings. Building trust is crucial for successful teamwork. Reliability, consistency, and integrity in your actions establish credibility and foster confidence among team members. When individuals trust one another, collaboration becomes more efficient and productive. Trust encourages risk-taking, honest feedback, and innovative solutions, all of which strengthen collective performance and social competency. Flexibility enhances collaboration by allowing you to adapt to different personalities, work styles, and situational demands. Being rigid or uncooperative limits group potential, whereas flexibility demonstrates emotional intelligence and openness. Adapting without compromising core principles ensures that interactions remain respectful, constructive, and goal-oriented. Flexibility also helps in resolving conflicts and maintaining harmony in team settings. Conflict resolution is an integral part of social skill development. When disagreements arise, address them calmly and objectively, focusing on solutions rather than assigning blame. Listen to all perspectives, validate feelings, and collaborate to find mutually acceptable outcomes. Effective resolution reinforces trust, prevents escalation, and enhances the team's ability to work together cohesively. Active listening strengthens collaboration by ensuring that all voices are heard and understood. Paraphrase or summarize key points to confirm comprehension. Ask thoughtful questions to explore ideas further, and provide feedback that acknowledges contributions. Active listening demonstrates respect, encourages participation, and allows for more informed and inclusive decision-making. Goal alignment supports effective teamwork. Clearly understanding the collective objectives and individual responsibilities helps maintain focus and accountability. Encourage discussion of priorities, timelines, and roles to ensure that everyone is working toward a shared outcome. Alignment reduces confusion, increases efficiency, and strengthens commitment to both group and personal contributions. Providing constructive feedback is vital for social skill enhancement. Offer observations and suggestions that are specific, actionable, and delivered respectfully. Frame feedback in a way that supports growth rather than criticism, fostering trust and continuous improvement. Receiving feedback openly and integrating it into behavior demonstrates humility and commitment to personal and team development. Encourage collaboration by recognizing and leveraging the strengths of others. Identify complementary skills within the team and distribute responsibilities accordingly. Valuing each member's contribution fosters inclusivity, boosts morale, and ensures that tasks are executed effectively. Recognition of abilities strengthens social bonds and enhances the overall performance of the group. Practice patience and emotional regulation during teamwork. Collaborative environments often involve differing opinions, delays, or mistakes. Managing frustration and responding with composure prevents tension and maintains focus on objectives. Patience allows for thoughtful contributions, constructive dialogue, and sustained engagement, reinforcing social effectiveness and emotional intelligence. Mentoring and supporting teammates strengthens relationships and social skills simultaneously. Offer guidance, encouragement, and assistance when appropriate. Supporting others demonstrates reliability, empathy, and leadership potential. It also promotes reciprocal behavior, creating an environment of mutual aid and respect that enhances both personal growth and group cohesion. Reflect on interactions to identify areas for improvement. After group activities, consider what went well, what challenges arose, and how your behavior affected the team. Honest reflection provides insight into strengths and weaknesses, informing future actions. Continuous evaluation ensures that social skills are honed deliberately rather than left to chance. Time management within collaborative efforts demonstrates respect for both the group and the process. Arriving prepared, meeting deadlines, and allocating attention efficiently supports smooth interactions and reinforces accountability. Time-conscious behavior communicates professionalism, reliability, and consideration for others, all of which are essential components of strong social skills. Encourage inclusivity by ensuring that quieter or less assertive team members have opportunities to contribute. Foster a safe space where all perspectives are welcomed and valued. Inclusivity enhances the richness of discussion, strengthens relationships, and models respectful and equitable social behavior that benefits everyone involved. Celebrate team achievements to reinforce cohesion and motivation. Recognize both collective success and individual contributions. Acknowledgement fosters positivity, trust, and willingness to collaborate in the future. Celebrating achievements communicates respect, encourages engagement, and strengthens social bonds, creating a culture where teamwork is both effective and fulfilling. Develop adaptability in group dynamics by observing, understanding, and responding to evolving situations. Teams are fluid, and the ability to adjust strategies, communication, or roles as circumstances change enhances effectiveness. Adaptability demonstrates maturity, awareness, and competence, ensuring that collaborative efforts remain productive and relationships remain positive. Finally, integrate intentional practice of collaboration and teamwork into daily interactions. Focus on active participation, empathy, communication, trust, feedback, reflection, patience, inclusivity, and adaptability consistently. Over time, these efforts strengthen social skills, deepen connections, and enable effective, harmonious engagement in any environment. Developing this competence empowers individuals to contribute meaningfully, navigate complex interactions, and build relationships that are constructive, resilient, and mutually beneficial. Chapter 7 Sie increase emotional flexibility by adapting smoothly to changing circumstances daily. Emotional flexibility is the ability to respond effectively to changing circumstances, shifting demands, and unexpected challenges without losing balance or clarity. It allows individuals to navigate daily life with resilience, maintain emotional stability, and make thoughtful decisions under pressure. Developing this skill requires awareness of one's emotional states, willingness to adjust perspectives, and intentional practice in responding rather than reacting. Emotional flexibility supports personal growth, strengthens relationships, and enhances problem-solving by enabling individuals to move fluidly through transitions and disruptions. The first step in increasing emotional flexibility is cultivating self-awareness. Recognize and understand your emotional responses as they arise throughout the day. Notice patterns in behavior and feelings that emerge when situations change. Being aware of these reactions provides a foundation for adjustment, allowing you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Observing emotions without judgment creates space for deliberate decision-making and reduces the likelihood of being overwhelmed. Accept change as a constant component of life. Embracing the reality that circumstances, expectations, and environments shift naturally reduces resistance and emotional turbulence. When change is anticipated and mentally acknowledged, transitions become manageable rather than stressful. Viewing change as an opportunity for growth rather than a threat fosters adaptability and strengthens emotional resilience. Practice reframing perspectives to enhance flexibility. When unexpected events occur, assess the situation from multiple angles. Consider potential benefits, lessons, and alternative approaches rather than focusing solely on disruption or loss. Reframing challenges cultivates a mindset that is open, curious, and resourceful, allowing emotions to remain balanced while seeking effective solutions. Develop problem-solving skills that accommodate variability. When circumstances change, identify actionable steps to adapt and progress. Break down complex situations into manageable components and prioritize what can be controlled. This approach channels energy into productive action rather than frustration or rumination, reinforcing a sense of capability and control during transitions. Strengthen emotional regulation to navigate change smoothly. Practice techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness, or brief pauses to manage immediate reactions. Maintaining composure allows clearer thinking, rational decision-making, and constructive engagement with shifting circumstances. Emotional regulation prevents impulsive behavior that can exacerbate challenges and supports consistent, thoughtful responses. Build resilience through exposure to variability. Intentionally place yourself in situations that require adjustment, decision-making under uncertainty, or negotiation of new conditions. Reflect on these experiences to identify lessons learned and strategies for future adaptation. Repeated practice strengthens the mind's ability to handle fluctuations without excessive stress or emotional disruption. Flexibility is enhanced by cultivating curiosity and openness. Approach new situations with a willingness to learn and explore rather than resist or avoid. Ask questions, seek information, and remain receptive to alternative viewpoints. Openness fosters creativity, problem-solving, and a balanced emotional response, allowing for smoother navigation of change. Set realistic expectations while maintaining adaptability. Acknowledge that not all outcomes are predictable or controllable. Flexibility involves accepting limitations while focusing on proactive responses. Adjusting goals, timelines, or strategies as circumstances evolve demonstrates practical intelligence and reduces frustration, supporting steady emotional management. Engage in reflective practice to improve adaptability. At the end of each day or after significant events, review how you responded to changes. Identify strengths in your reactions and areas for improvement. Reflection reinforces learning, highlights strategies that work, and gradually enhances the ability to respond flexibly under pressure. Strengthen interpersonal awareness to navigate changing dynamics effectively. Pay attention to emotional cues, body language, and responses from others in evolving situations. Understanding how changes impact those around you enables adjustments in communication and behavior that maintain harmony and effectiveness. Social awareness complements personal flexibility and enhances collaborative problem solving. Prioritize proactive planning to support emotional flexibility. Anticipate potential challenges, create contingency plans, and consider multiple scenarios. Preparation provides a sense of control and reduces anxiety when unexpected circumstances arise. Proactive planning ensures that adaptation is thoughtful rather than reactive, promoting confidence and calm under change. Practice letting go of rigid expectations. Clinging to specific outcomes, methods, or timelines generates frustration when events deviate from plans. Learning to release attachment to inflexible structures fosters freedom to adjust and respond creatively. Letting go supports mental clarity, reduces stress, and enhances overall emotional stability. Develop the habit of incremental adjustment. Rather than attempting sudden or radical changes in response to disruptions, make gradual, deliberate modifications in behavior, approach, or mindset. Incremental adjustment allows for controlled flexibility, minimizes stress, and strengthens confidence in one's capacity to navigate shifting conditions effectively. Integrate self-compassion into adaptive practice. Accept that adjustment may not be perfect or immediate. Acknowledge efforts, recognize progress, and treat mistakes as opportunities for learning rather than failures. Self-compassion reinforces resilience, reduces self-criticism, and maintains emotional balance while adapting to changing circumstances. Enhance cognitive flexibility to complement emotional adaptation. Train the mind to consider multiple solutions, perspectives, and strategies simultaneously. Embracing diverse approaches prevents rigidity and promotes innovative problem-solving when conditions shift. Cognitive flexibility allows emotions and actions to remain aligned with practical goals and realistic assessments. Strengthen physical awareness as part of emotional adaptability. Stress and change often manifest physically, creating tension, fatigue, or restlessness. Engage in mindful observation of bodily cues and implement calming practices such as movement, stretching, or focused breathing. Physical awareness supports mental clarity, emotional regulation, and effective adaptation. Foster resilience through deliberate exposure to uncertainty. Place yourself in environments where expectations may shift, outcomes are unpredictable, or roles may vary. Reflect on how you respond, adjust strategies, and maintain composure. Regular exposure builds confidence in handling variability, reinforcing emotional and cognitive flexibility. Encourage collaborative flexibility by working with others who approach situations differently. Observe, learn, and integrate diverse methods and perspectives. Collaboration under shifting circumstances enhances problem-solving, emotional management, and interpersonal skills. Adapting to collective dynamics strengthens relationships and creates a supportive environment for growth. Finally, Integrate emotional flexibility as a daily habit by combining self-awareness, acceptance of change, reflective practice, proactive planning, cognitive and interpersonal adaptability, and self-compassion. Responding smoothly to evolving circumstances becomes a natural skill over time. Regular practice enhances resilience, emotional intelligence, decision-making, and relationship quality. Mastery of flexibility transforms challenges into opportunities, reduces stress, and supports consistent personal and professional growth, enabling individuals to navigate life with balance, clarity, and confidence. Chapter 18. Observe triggers to prevent emotional reactions before they control you. Understanding and managing emotional triggers is a critical step in mastering emotional intelligence and maintaining control over your responses. Emotional triggers are specific situations, words, behaviors, or memories that provoke strong emotional reactions, often automatically and intensely. By observing these triggers carefully, you gain the ability to respond deliberately rather than react impulsively. This awareness allows you to prevent unnecessary conflict, preserve your mental clarity, and maintain composure in challenging situations. Developing this skill strengthens self-regulation, emotional resilience, and interpersonal relationships. The first step in observing triggers is developing self-awareness. Pay close attention to your emotional responses throughout the day, noting moments when feelings escalate rapidly or seem disproportionate. Identify patterns in these reactions, such as recurring situations, interactions, or specific topics that consistently evoke anger, frustration, anxiety, or sadness. Recognizing these patterns provides clarity and allows you to prepare for future occurrences, turning potential emotional upheaval into an opportunity for conscious response. Track physical signals associated with triggers. Emotions often manifest in the body before they reach conscious awareness. Notice changes in heart rate, muscle tension, breathing patterns, or posture when confronted with certain situations. These bodily cues act as early warning signs, providing a moment to pause and regain composure before responding. By tuning into physical sensations, you gain an additional layer of awareness that enhances control over reactions. Examine the underlying beliefs or expectations connected to triggers. Often, strong emotional responses stem from personal assumptions, past experiences, or unmet needs. Reflect on why certain events provoke intense reactions and whether these responses are proportional to the present situation. Understanding the root cause helps separate current reality from past conditioning, enabling more rational and balanced emotional management. Practice mindfulness to observe triggers in real time. Mindfulness involves paying non-judgmental attention to your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings as they occur. When you notice a trigger emerging, acknowledge it without attempting to suppress or ignore it. This conscious recognition provides a critical pause, allowing for a deliberate choice in how to respond rather than being swept away by automatic emotions. Create a trigger journal to record instances of heightened emotional responses. Document the situation, your feelings, physical sensations, and thoughts at the moment. Review these entries regularly to identify patterns, recurring themes, and specific areas that require intervention. The process of documenting not only clarifies triggers, but also encourages reflection and proactive planning for future encounters. Develop strategies to interrupt automatic reactions. Techniques such as deep breathing, counting to 10, stepping away temporarily, or focusing on a neutral object provide time and space to process emotions before responding. Interrupting the immediate reaction creates an opportunity for intentional and constructive behavior rather than impulsive outbursts. Use cognitive reframing to shift perspective when triggers arise. Challenge assumptions, question automatic thoughts, and consider alternative interpretations of the situation. Reframing allows you to view events objectively, reduce emotional intensity, and respond with clarity. This practice strengthens mental flexibility and enhances emotional regulation in stressful or triggering situations. Strengthen emotional vocabulary to articulate feelings accurately. Recognizing and labeling emotions precisely, such as distinguishing frustration from anger or anxiety from worry, enhances understanding and control. Verbalizing emotions either internally or externally allows for thoughtful processing, reducing the likelihood of uncontrolled reactions and fostering clearer communication with others. Establish personal boundaries to minimize exposure to avoidable triggers. Identify situations, behaviors, or individuals that consistently provoke negative reactions and implement boundaries that protect your emotional well-being. Boundaries do not eliminate challenges entirely, but create a framework that reduces unnecessary stress and promotes healthier engagement with people and circumstances. Anticipate potential triggers by reflecting on past experiences. Before entering situations that historically provoke strong emotions, prepare strategies to manage reactions, consider potential responses, rehearse calming techniques, or plan communication approaches. Anticipation reduces surprise, enhances confidence, and strengthens the ability to maintain composure when challenges arise. Engage in reflective practice to evaluate responses to triggers. After encountering a triggering situation, review how you reacted, what was effective, and what could be improved. Reflection fosters learning, highlights progress, and identifies areas requiring further attention. Consistent evaluation strengthens self-control and builds a proactive approach to emotional management. Practice empathy when triggers involve others. Consider the motivations, pressures, or limitations of individuals who may provoke a reaction. Understanding their perspective reduces the intensity of emotional responses and promotes constructive engagement. Empathy transforms potential conflict into an opportunity for connection, problem solving, and emotional growth. Integrate stress reduction techniques to enhance resilience against triggers. Regular practices such as exercise, meditation, adequate rest, or journaling reduce baseline stress and make it easier to maintain composure during emotionally charged situations. Lower stress levels increase the capacity for observation, reflection, and intentional response, ensuring that triggers do not dominate behavior. Cultivate patience to respond thoughtfully when triggers emerge. Avoid immediate judgments or reactive actions. Pausing, considering the context, and choosing deliberate words or behaviors strengthens self-regulation and prevents escalation. Patience enables measured responses that align with values, goals, and desired outcomes rather than impulsive emotional reactions. Strengthen problem-solving skills to manage triggers effectively. When a situation evokes strong emotions, focus on identifying solutions rather than dwelling on frustration or blame. Constructive action channels emotional energy into productive outcomes and reinforces a sense of control. Viewing challenges as solvable rather than threatening reduces reactive intensity and encourages practical engagement. Engage in supportive conversations with trusted individuals to process triggers. Sharing experiences and receiving feedback provides perspective, validation, and strategies for improvement. Constructive dialogue enhances understanding of emotional patterns and strengthens resilience, ensuring that triggers are addressed thoughtfully rather than ignored or suppressed. Practice emotional detachment from non-essential triggers. Recognize which situations are significant and warrant attention versus those that can be released without consequence. Detachment allows focus on meaningful interactions and prevents minor provocations from dominating emotional energy. This skill increases clarity, reduces stress, and supports consistent emotional balance. Integrate mindfulness and reflective practices into daily routines to maintain long-term control over triggers. Regular attention to emotional patterns, combined with intentional processing of reactions, reinforces awareness, resilience, and adaptive responses. Over time, observing triggers becomes an automatic part of self-regulation, ensuring that emotions remain manageable and aligned with goals and values. Finally, integrate trigger observation as a central habit in emotional intelligence development. Recognize physical and emotional cues, reflect on underlying causes, apply calming techniques, reframe perspectives, and learn from each experience. Through consistent practice, triggers no longer control behavior, but instead become signals for conscious choice. Mastering this skill enhances emotional stability, improves relationships, strengthens decision-making, and fosters resilience, creating a life where responses are deliberate, constructive, and aligned with personal growth. Chapter 19 will develop self-motivation by setting meaningful goals and pursuing them. Self-motivation is the inner drive that propels individuals to act, persist, and achieve goals without relying solely on external encouragement. It is a critical component of personal growth, success, and resilience, and it can be cultivated intentionally by setting meaningful goals and pursuing them with focus and discipline. Developing self-motivation begins with clarity about what matters most and aligning actions with personal values and aspirations. When motivation is rooted in purpose rather than obligation, it becomes sustainable, energizing, and transformative, guiding individuals through challenges and maintaining momentum even in the face of obstacles. The first step in developing self-motivation is identifying meaningful goals. Goals that resonate deeply with personal values, passions, and long-term vision provide a strong foundation for action. Take time to reflect on what truly matters, what brings satisfaction, and what impact you want to create in life. Goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound give direction, structure, and focus to daily efforts, ensuring that energy is channeled toward meaningful outcomes rather than scattered in unproductive activities. Break down larger goals into smaller, actionable steps. Clear milestones transform daunting objectives into manageable tasks, reducing overwhelm and providing a sense of progress. Each completed step reinforces confidence, sustains momentum, and strengthens the internal drive to continue. Incremental achievement demonstrates capability, builds resilience, and solidifies the habit of consistent effort, which is essential for long-term self-motivation. Visualize success to enhance motivation. Mental imagery of achieving goals, experiencing the associated emotions, and overcoming obstacles strengthens commitment and fuels determination. Visualization provides clarity of purpose, reinforces the relevance of actions, and creates a compelling internal incentive to persist. Regularly imagining progress and completion increases focus and intensifies the drive to take consistent, deliberate action. Develop a routine that supports goal pursuit. Daily habits aligned with objectives create structure, discipline, and predictability. Set aside dedicated time for focused work, reflection, and skill development. Consistency in routine reinforces self-discipline, minimizes procrastination, and ensures steady advancement toward meaningful goals. Well-designed routines reduce reliance on fleeting inspiration and transform effort into sustained progress. Monitor progress regularly to maintain motivation. Track achievements, identify obstacles, and evaluate strategies to ensure alignment with intended outcomes. Reflecting on successes, however small, reinforces competence and energizes continued effort. Adjusting approaches based on progress strengthens adaptability and keeps momentum intact, preventing stagnation and discouragement. Develop intrinsic motivation by connecting actions to personal values and passions. When goals are aligned with what genuinely matters, effort becomes self-rewarding. Focusing on purpose rather than external validation creates a sense of fulfillment, enhances resilience, and sustains engagement through challenges. Intrinsic motivation ensures that drive remains steady even when immediate rewards or recognition are absent. Cultivate resilience to overcome setbacks. Challenges, failures, and delays are inevitable in the pursuit of meaningful goals. Approach obstacles as opportunities to learn, adapt, and refine strategies. Persistence in the face of difficulty strengthens self-motivation by demonstrating capability and reinforcing commitment. Viewing setbacks as temporary and solvable reinforces a forward-focused mindset and maintains energy toward achieving objectives. Create accountability structures to support consistent action. Share goals with trusted individuals, mentors, or peers who can provide feedback, encouragement, and constructive guidance. Accountability increases commitment, promotes reflection, and motivates sustained effort. Knowing that progress will be observed and supported reinforces responsibility and helps maintain focus and consistency. Prioritize tasks based on importance and impact. Focus energy on actions that move goals forward rather than getting distracted by trivial or urgent but less meaningful activities. Effective prioritization enhances efficiency, reduces wasted effort, and ensures that motivation is directed toward actions that produce tangible results. Strategic focus allows for sustained effort without unnecessary fatigue or frustration. Celebrate milestones to reinforce progress and maintain enthusiasm. Acknowledging achievements, no matter how small, strengthens confidence, satisfaction, and internal drive. Celebration provides psychological reward and reinforces the value of persistent effort. Positive reinforcement encourages continued action and solidifies motivation as an integral part of daily life. Maintain flexibility in approaches to goal pursuit. Adapt strategies, timelines, and methods in response to changing circumstances, obstacles, or feedback. Flexibility ensures that motivation is sustained even when the original plan encounters challenges. Adaptable planning allows for continued momentum without discouragement, reinforcing the habit of consistent, goal-directed effort. Develop a growth-oriented mindset to fuel self-motivation. Embrace challenges, seek learning opportunities, and view effort as a pathway to improvement. Believing that skills and abilities can develop with effort strengthens persistence, increases resilience, and enhances commitment to goals. A growth mindset transforms setbacks into motivation rather than discouragement. Reduce distractions and environmental barriers that impede focus. Create a workspace and routine that minimizes interruptions, enhances concentration, and supports sustained effort. Eliminating unnecessary friction allows energy and attention to remain directed toward meaningful goals, strengthening motivation through consistent, undisturbed action. Use self-reflection to maintain clarity and direction. Regularly evaluate progress, emotions, and alignment with values. Reflection allows identification of behaviors that support or hinder motivation and encourages proactive adjustment. Insight gained through reflection strengthens intentionality, reinforces commitment, and ensures that effort remains purposeful and effective. Leverage the power of small wins to sustain momentum. Recognizing and celebrating minor achievements reinforces competence, energy, and enthusiasm. Accumulation of small successes builds confidence, encourages persistence, and generates a self-perpetuating cycle of motivation. Small wins provide visible evidence that consistent effort produces results, strengthening internal drive. Surround yourself with supportive influences. Engage with people who inspire, challenge, and encourage growth. Positive social environments reinforce motivation by modeling commitment, offering guidance, and providing accountability. Avoid influences that drain energy, discourage effort, or normalize complacency, as these undermine self-motivation and distract from meaningful goal pursuit. Focus on purpose rather than immediate gratification. Long-term goals require sustained effort, delayed rewards, and patience. Maintaining focus on ultimate outcomes helps resist impulses that may undermine progress. Purpose-driven effort provides internal reinforcement, ensuring that motivation persists even when short-term challenges or discomfort arise. Integrate self-discipline into daily habits. Motivation fluctuates naturally, but discipline ensures that action continues regardless of temporary emotional states. Committing to consistent routines, time management, and structured effort strengthens the ability to act reliably, reinforcing momentum and deepening the habit of persistent goal pursuit. Finally, embed self-motivation as a daily practice by setting meaningful goals, creating structured plans, tracking progress, reflecting regularly, celebrating achievements, and adapting strategies as needed. Self-motivation becomes a skill cultivated through consistent effort, awareness, and intentionality. Over time, the ability to initiate action, maintain focus, and persist through challenges strengthens, supporting long-term personal growth, emotional intelligence, and life satisfaction. The pursuit of meaningful goals transforms energy into purposeful action, building resilience, confidence, and fulfillment. Chapter 20. Reflect nightly to track growth and reinforce emotional intelligence habits. Nightly reflection is one of the most powerful habits for developing emotional intelligence and sustaining personal growth. By taking the time to examine your actions, emotions, and interactions at the end of each day, you create an opportunity to learn from experiences, identify patterns, and reinforce positive behaviors. Reflection is not about judgment or self-criticism. It is about observation, understanding, and intentional adjustment. This practice strengthens self-awareness, deepens emotional understanding, and ensures that the habits you cultivate continue to grow and shape your life constructively over time. Begin by creating a quiet and focused environment where reflection can take place without interruption. Choose a consistent time each evening to pause and review the day. Even 10 to 15 minutes of concentrated attention can provide significant insight. Use this time to revisit key events, interactions, decisions, and emotional responses. Observing the day with clarity allows you to understand how thoughts and feelings influenced your behaviors, highlighting areas of strength and opportunities for improvement. Start by examining your emotional responses throughout the day. Consider moments when you felt strong emotions, whether positive or negative. Identify the triggers for these emotions and evaluate how you responded. Did you act thoughtfully or react impulsively? Were your responses aligned with your values and goals? Understanding these patterns increases self-awareness and builds a foundation for emotional control, resilience, and more effective decision-making. Assess your interactions with others and the impact of your behavior on relationships. Reflect on how you communicated, whether you listened attentively, expressed yourself clearly, and showed empathy. Consider if your actions fostered trust, understanding, and collaboration, or if they created misunderstandings or tension. Reflection strengthens social intelligence by making you more attuned to the needs and perspectives of others and more capable of adjusting your behavior to improve connections. Examine your accomplishments and efforts. Acknowledge the tasks you completed, progress toward goals, and moments of perseverance. Celebrating even small achievements reinforces motivation and a sense of competence. Tracking progress nightly prevents accomplishments from going unnoticed, strengthens self-confidence, and encourages continued effort in building both personal and professional growth. Consider challenges and setbacks with a constructive mindset. Identify obstacles you encountered, mistakes made, or moments of difficulty. Ask yourself what lessons these experiences provide and how you can apply them in the future. Viewing challenges as learning opportunities rather than failures nurtures resilience, encourages problem-solving, and fosters an adaptive approach to life that enhances emotional intelligence. Identify moments of gratitude and positive experiences. Reflect on people, events, or circumstances that brought satisfaction, joy, or inspiration. Recognizing these moments strengthens emotional well-being, encourages appreciation for daily life, and reinforces habits that support positivity and stability. Gratitude enhances perspective, reduces stress, and reinforces the ability to respond constructively to challenges. Track behavioral patterns over time. Nightly reflection allows you to notice recurring habits, reactions, and thought processes. Identifying patterns helps in making deliberate adjustments, reinforcing productive habits, and eliminating those that impede emotional growth. Consistent observation and tracking transform reflection into a tool for continuous improvement rather than occasional insight. Set intentions for the following day based on your reflections. Use insights gained from examining your emotions, interactions, and actions to plan strategies for improvement. Determine specific behaviors to practice, challenges to address, and positive habits to reinforce. Setting clear intentions creates a bridge between reflection and action, ensuring that insight is translated into practical steps that foster growth. Practice honesty and self-compassion during reflection. Be truthful about successes, mistakes, and areas needing improvement without harsh judgment. Approach evaluation with understanding, recognizing that growth is a process and errors are opportunities to learn. Self-compassion prevents discouragement, reinforces resilience, and sustains motivation for continuous development. Use journaling as a tool for structured reflection. Writing down observations, thoughts, and insights enhances clarity, organizes ideas, and creates a record for long-term tracking of emotional and behavioral growth. A journal allows you to compare progress over time, recognize improvement, and identify recurring challenges. Documentation solidifies reflection as an actionable habit that reinforces accountability and self-awareness. Integrate specific questions into your nightly reflection to guide focus. Ask what you learned today, how you handled emotions, what actions supported your goals, and what could be improved. Structured questioning ensures that reflection is comprehensive, directed, and impactful, preventing it from becoming vague or superficial. Review your alignment with personal values and long-term objectives. Consider whether decisions, behaviors, and emotional responses were consistent with what you aspire to be. Reflection in the context of values strengthens integrity, supports goal-oriented behavior, and ensures that emotional intelligence habits are not just practiced, but internalized as part of character development. Observe your stress responses and coping strategies. Identify moments when you felt overwhelmed, anxious, or frustrated, and evaluate how effectively you managed these feelings. Consider alternative strategies that could enhance control, calmness, and problem-solving in the future. Improving stress management through nightly reflection contributes to emotional stability and more measured, intentional responses in challenging situations. Evaluate communication and conflict management skills. Reflect on disagreements, misunderstandings, or collaborative efforts, and consider what went well and what could be improved. Analyzing these interactions allows for the development of better social skills, clearer communication, and more empathetic engagement with others, reinforcing emotional intelligence in practical terms. Integrate reflection with mindfulness by paying attention to sensations, thoughts, and emotions without judgment. Observing internal experiences with clarity and neutrality enhances self-awareness and emotional regulation. Mindful reflection ensures that insights are grounded in reality rather than biased by assumptions or defensiveness, leading to more accurate and actionable understanding of behavior. Track incremental improvements over time. Nightly reflection allows you to notice small changes in emotional responses, decision-making, and interactions. Recognizing gradual progress builds confidence, reinforces habits, and motivates continued effort. Awareness of growth emphasizes that development is a cumulative process, rewarding persistence and consistency. Use reflection to anticipate future challenges. Insights gained from reviewing past behaviors and emotional patterns equip you to approach upcoming situations with foresight and preparedness. Anticipation enhances flexibility, reduces reactive behavior, and strengthens confidence in managing complex emotional and interpersonal circumstances. Reinforce the connection between reflection and action by creating a nightly summary of actionable insights. Identify one or two specific behaviors to implement the following day based on your review. This practice ensures that reflection is not passive but directly influences behavior, reinforcing emotional intelligence through consistent application. Finally, make nightly reflection a non-negotiable habit. Consistency is essential to long-term growth. Daily reflection strengthens self-awareness, emotional control, empathy, resilience, and decision-making. By examining the day thoughtfully, acknowledging successes, learning from challenges, and setting intentions for the next day, reflection becomes a cornerstone habit that solidifies emotional intelligence, nurtures personal development, and supports a life of deliberate, constructive action.